Solo 5 minutos nos separan del tercer día de competencias de los...
Well, a very good morning and welcome back to Guadalajara on the third and final day of competition at the IJF Judo World Masters 2016, and a very good morning to my co-commentator today, David McFall.
Good morning, Sheldon. Buenos dias, everyone.
Right, we've got 5 weight categories to bring to you today. We're going to do our usual rundown of the top 4 seeds in each weight category, and then David's going to jump in and let you know if he's got any special picks apart from those top 4. So let's take a look at the top 4 seeds in the under 90 kilo category. Baker Massey of Japan is the number 1 seed. The number 2 seed is Marcus Niemann of Sweden. The number 3 seed would have been Asli Gonzalez of Cuba, but he's had to pull out. And the number 4 seed is Ilias Iliadis of Greece. So we're just 1 fighter short there. David?
Well, I'm really liking all those seeds. I think basically I like Baker. I think he's had a strong year thus far. And of course, Iliadis is the legend. Could be the last year we actually see him. I think this is going to be done after this Olympic cycle. How about yourself?
No, that's it. I mean, Marcus Niemann is the number 2 seed here. He'd stopped a couple of years ago, decided to give it a go, as he said. And I saw him in the warm-up here a couple of minutes ago, and I said, "What a go you're giving it!" You know, he's doing a good job there. Thiago Camilo, you mentioned earlier.
That's right. You know, Camilo's been around forever. It seems like he's like Iliadis. And he's definitely going to be the Brazilian representative in Rio. So I'd like to see, it would be a heartwarming story to see him do well here.
My pick for the podium, Marcus Niemann or Axel Clerget. Look out for Clerget. Right, the under 100 kilo category, the number 1 seed, Elmar Gazimov of Azerbaijan. The number 2 seed, Lukasz Kopalek of the Czech Republic. The number 3 seed is Cyril Marais of France. And the number 4 seed, Toma Nikiforov of Belgium.
Yeah, I really like, a couple questions here. One is with Kopalek. He had a shoulder injury. We'll see if he can come back from this. I saw him in the warm-up room. He said he feels all right. This is going to be his test. He admits that. The guy who I really love in this weight category is Nikiforov. Nikiforov, who in the World Championships bronze medal contest basically fought with one arm and won by ippon. This guy's got heart. I love it.
Plus 100 kilo category, Hawazawa Hisayoshi of Japan is the number 1 seed. The number 2 seed is Roy Meyer of the Netherlands. The number 3 seed is Borbana of Hungary. The number 4 seed, Rafael Silva of Brazil.
Well, with Teddy Raniere gone, or not gone, he's just not here, Hanasawa basically is the man to watch. We didn't see him in the warm-ups, which was kind of curious. So we'll see what he has to put on. For the Brazilians, it's still not really decided between Mora or Silva yet, so that could be interesting to see. And I like Oris Sasson. Something about him really catches me. Oris
Sasson of Israel, one of the lightest fighters in the weight category. We're just going to introduce the opening contest, and then we'll come back to do the women. We're going to go to mat number 2. The opening contest features Ushangi Kokauri of Azerbaijan. He's up against Alex Garcia Mendoza of Cuba. It's Kokauri in the white judogi, Garcia Mendoza in blue. They move rather slowly to the tatami, don't they?
That's,
The two big fellas.
I was going to say, it's not that early. It's 11 o'clock here, so
And you might want to see a little bit more, bite in
little
there.
spark.
Yeah. Anyway, things may pick up. I want to watch the contest between Jorge Fonseca of Portugal and Adlan Bizultanov of Russia. Then that is on mat number 1. I'm not that sure that all is okay in that camp, the Russian camp.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there was a little bit of feeling of disquiet this morning. And it had to do with the degree of preparedness of a couple of the athletes. I'm not going to mention which athlete and which coach, but, one of the athletes looked a little bit slow to get himself prepared for the warm-up. And one of the coaches was not best pleased because he's such a nice guy, the coach I'm talking about. And he didn't have time for me this morning because he was steaming at the fact that his fighter wasn't prepared.
Steaming even beyond the weather here.
Yeah. He was more than hot. Kokari picks up a penalty for avoiding to take a grip. Single Shido against the Azeri, the Georgian-born Azeri.
Nice little consulto there. So Garcia Mendoza got the man from Azerbaijan moving a little bit. Just a bit.
It's a measured start, isn't it, from both of them? Neither of them look as though they're going to be galvanized into action anytime soon. Maybe Garcia just looking a bit overly defensive here. Yeah, there you go. Oh, beg your pardon. David has just reminded me I'm amiss at not having gone through the women's
Were
weight
you
cutting. Sorry
indulging
about
in,
that.
in the tequila last
Yeah,
night,
no,
perhaps?
Actually, I completely left out any alcoholic beverages last night, but I shall be partaking this evening.
I was
for
going to
sure.
say, maybe that's the problem.
Let's take a look then quickly at. Oh, hang on a minute. Just for a moment, Kokari looks as though he's going to pick up the Uranagi there. Right. The number 1 seed in the under 78 kilo category is Kayla Harrison of the United States of America, the current Olympic champion. Number 2 seed is Husha Steenhuis of the Netherlands. Number 3 seed is Mayra Aguiar of Brazil. And the number 4 seed is Natalie Powell of Great Britain. David.
Well, I think the fight that everyone wants to see really is Harrison versus Aguiar. This is a rivalry that's a really great rivalry in judo right now. And basically Harrison has tied things up in, I believe it was in Paris that Aguiar won. And then Harrison got her back in the Pan Americans. So this will be a kind of a buffer match, I think, as they say, prior to Rio. And then the other name that really pops out for me is Jenna Gibbons.
Okay, the Olympic silver medalist from London. We've got 2 of the 4. We've got 3. 3 out of 4. The only one missing is Chomio from that podium in London. Okay, Ushangi Kokauri managed to secure that Osai Waza on Alex Garcia Mendoza, and it'll be Kokauri who goes in to round 2. Let's take a quick look at the competitors in the plus 78 kilo category for women. The number 1 seed there is Idalis Ortiz of Cuba. The number 2 seed is Ma Se of China. The number 3 seed is Yamabe Kanae of Japan, and the number 4 seed is Nihel Chikrohu of Tunisia. David.
And we've been talking the last 2 or 3 days about the depth of the Japanese. Actually, this is a topic we often talk about. Yamabe has taken the slot for Rio. A great robber with Tachimoto, I think, might be over. This might be the end of Tachimoto. We'll have to see. She actually got injured in the final. But I would really like to see that semifinal between Yamabe and Ma. But Pool A is going to be the really tough pool for this weight class with Ortiz, Athelman from Brazil, Slutskaya from Belarus. So it should be a really, really interesting plus 78 category, even with Chiumeo's absence.
Sorry about that. We sounded as though we had a storm in here. I inadvertently stood next to the fan and nearly got blown away. So, my apologies for that.
Gale winds within the arena.
Well, I think there are a few people who plug their laptops or stuff into some big speakers, and it must have blown them off their settees at home or sofas. Right, on mat number 2 now in the under 78 kilo category, Natalie Powell of Great Britain faces Yelenis Castillo of Cuba. It's Powell in the white judogi, Castillo in blue. Mark Pickering must be on the edge of his seat. He hasn't got his headphones plugged in today, so he's not listening. He's too nervous.
He's tuned out.
Yeah. And on the adjoining mat, there's another contest coming. That's in the plus 78 kilo category. Melissa Mojica of Puerto Rico faces Marina Slutskaya of Belarus. We're keeping a close eye on Powell in the white judogi and Castillo in blue.
Yeah, in this mat, Powell and Gibbons are back-to-back matches.
If they both win out, it'll be a head-to-head.
It's kind of a shame when you meet your compatriots so early in the competition, but there's not that many rounds here to begin with.
That's right. It's not going to take long, is it, to bring about that head-to-head. Slightly cooler here today. There's a slight breeze.
Because executive decision you made earlier this morning.
Well, David McFall thought it was a little bit too hot. We'll get a fan in here. Keep us a little bit cooler, and that's working out nicely. It's just, no papers blowing around or anything. It's just a little bit of air in here. Get better.
Sheldon, you've got many fans.
It's very, very cool. I'm gonna completely give that comment a miss. I've got one as far as I'm aware. I've got one.
Yeah, now they're hanging from the rafters.
She knows who she is. She corrected my article last night. Oh, that's beautifully done from Powell.
Really nice haraigoshi there.
The dragon roars early in the day. Look at that. Now we're going to see Mark Pickering fall off the edge of his chair now. there's a slight time delay. You watch when it comes up. It's about 10 seconds, and he's going to start being all animated, pumping his arms in the air and doing the football chant. Here we go. Right, coming up next, Gemma Gibbons of Great Britain faces Laia Talan of Spain. It's Gibbons in the white judogi, Talan in blue. Obviously the message hasn't reached.
Or he's just suitably ignoring us.
Yeah, he's trying to keep a straight face.
Poker face Pickering, that's what we'll call him.
Holding back his excitement. Right, let's see how Gemma Gibbons gets on here. This is one of David's picks. Got that right foot and ankle heavily strapped up. It's perfectly possible that Gemmons is the big occasion fighter.
Right, she rises to the occasion.
Yeah, she needs to have the right motivation in order to draw out from her best performances.
Performs under pressure.
Yeah.
I was talking to Kayla Harrison about this one time, and she was saying that, it's hard to get up for events. Grand Slams and, of course, the Masters and the Olympics, but, the smaller events are really difficult to get up for. And some athletes, like I said, the first 2 rounds, they seem sleepy. It's just a matter of they don't feel that pressure.
Talan has picked up a single Shido at the moment. That didn't look that pretty, did it? He was looking to open things up on the left-hand side. Sorry, David, go ahead.
They're off to a bit of a slow start.
It's incredible that the way that this has worked out, but both Gibbons and Powell had what we can call good draws. I mean, I'm saying good, but that's putting it lightly. You know, these are good fighters for them to face in preparation for what's coming next, because what's coming next is, one, the head-to-head. There will be, you know, a semi-final after that, and then the final. So you need something like this. It's going to test them, but they should both be able to come through this first-round contest.
Well, for the benefit of the viewers at home, has a pick been made yet for Rio between these two?
No, as far as I'm aware, there has not been any news from the British with regard to their final selection, and the 30th is the closing date, and we are at the 29th today. So this was perfect time, and the IJF set that closing date to allow all the teams the absolute longest possible time with the qualification period and the last qualification event. So even this event was included in that time frame to say, if you want to leave it until the 30th, you can wait right until the results of everything, and on, you know, tomorrow you let us know. So that's what it's going to be. Tomorrow we're going to have to let the IJF know the picks. I mean, teams like the Netherlands, for example, they announced their picks way back in February after Dusseldorf Grand Prix. But whether anybody took those seriously, that was, you know, their internal thing. That's what they were saying. This is who we want to go. But whether they would have secured enough points or anything like that, no one could have known in February.
Right. Well, I mean, if you look at teams like Brazil, so they've got the automatic slot, right? And they've got two weight classes, in particular, 60s and plus 100s, in which it's going to come down to the wire. I mean, internally, maybe they've already made that decision, but they haven't made the announcement yet.
Right, now, on mat number 2, Gibbons is penalty-free. There's no score as yet. Talan, unfortunately for her, has picked up 3 penalties. But down on mat number 1, we've got the current Olympic champion in the under 78 kilo category. Kayla Harrison of the United States of America faces Yahima Ramirez of Portugal. I'm sorry that we dragged you down here for this one. If you want to continue watching Gemma Gibbons and Lahia Talan, just click on 2 and you'll be able to finish off watching that one. But we want to take a look at Kayla Harrison's opening contest in the under 78 kilo categories. Harrison in the white judogi, Ramirez in blue.
Now, last exchange, Kayla had a nice look at Ouchigari. See if she can get that going there. She looks for the Makikomi or Haragoshi that slipped.
I think you're right, the Makikomi, because the arm wasn't anywhere near. Yeah, exactly. I think that was a Makikomi. Oops, it's unusual. Ramirez picked up a Shido there. Shido picked up by the Portuguese fighter for passivity. Harrison with the slight advantage at the moment as they both tap away at the feet. Gibbons, by the way, has picked up a Shido on the adjoining mat, but Talan has 3, and not looking good for the Spanish fighter down there, I'm afraid. Shaping up for that right side, isn't she? She's eyeing it up.
Well, you could tell she had gotten her grip and she was just settling in, trying to set it up with a little Ashiwaza there.
Second penalty picked up by Ramirez. Still plenty of time though, 2 minutes. And a touch, so half the contest still to come.
That was a nice little sequence there by Ramirez. That was her best attacking sequence yet. Harrison goes to work on the ground here. Kind of unusual position. I thought she had some sort of Gigi working at the bottom there.
I did as well, but it didn't materialize. You're right. Got herself into a reasonable position, but wasn't able to execute the turnover.
Well, we heard the Star Spangled Banner yesterday. Perhaps we'll hear it again today. And big congratulations to Travis Stevens yesterday.
No doubt about who the favourite is here, irrespective of, the appearance of Mayra Aguiar.
That's going to be a tough fight if the brackets work out that way.
Unusual. Harrison doesn't normally wince at anything that isn't serious.
She got really beat up last year on that Asian tour. Shoulders or elbows, and I'm sure she's recovered, but these 4-year campaigns definitely take a toll on the body.
Now it's Harrison who really, in protecting the elbow, I think, just kept Ramirez off.
Little stiff arm kind of
for a while, yeah. Harrison trying to work past the arms, and still no joy over on that right side with that Makikomi.
Yeah, that was more easy to see as far as her trying to come across, but again, it sort of slipped. See, just 30 seconds left here, and difference is only the one Shido. Well, 2 Shidos to Ramirez versus the 1 to Harrison. Harrison turns into for Seoinage.
Well, Harrison doing just enough to shade out Yahima Ramirez of Portugal. 2 penalties picked up by the Portuguese fighter, 1 by Harrison. It's the current Olympic champion who goes into round 2. I'm not sure if David McFall is keeping up the brackets yet, but I'm sure he'll get into that. And we're going to go down to mat number 2 now, because on the adjoining mat we've got Mayra Aguiar of Brazil. She's up against Anastasia Dmitrieva of Russia. Dmitrieva, unfortunately for her, has picked up 2 penalties. So the advantage with Aguiar. And I just noticed that Aguiar has Wazari on the board anyway. I didn't see that earlier on when I looked across at the scoreboard. Dmitrieva picks up a 3rd penalty. That's not really going to trouble us too much now. It's Aguiar with that Wazari lead, who's looking good for a spot in round 2. Dmitrieva, to be honest, was lucky to get a spot here at the Masters. There are a few fighters who were not able to attend, and if number 16 can't come, then we go to 17 and 18 and 19 and so on. So eventually came down to Dmitrieva.
Well, she's got a great opportunity here, but hasn't been able to make the most of it. Well, maybe Dmitriev can enjoy the sun and perhaps some salsa. For a long journey back home.
Aguiar then moves in to round 2, which is effectively the quarter-final, isn't it? So maybe we'll just refer to it as the quarter-final. Now on mat number 2, coming up next, Victoria Turks of the Ukraine. She'll face Liliana Cardenas of Mexico. It's Turks in the white judogi, Cardenas in blue. There's David McFall.
And you can hear the crowd come alive as the local is on the scene with Cardenas. We've remarked before over the last 2 days how well the Mexicans have performed. Not so much at, if you look at the final scores, but rather that they haven't been knocked out right away. And just as I said this, Cardenas is stuck in this Osai Komi, and she manages to get herself out. So it was a Ura Keisakatame that went all the way to Waza Ari. Cardenas was able to slip out before it went to Ippon. The key one to that, of course, is locking the wrist into the armpit. And it was Turks who actually allowed the Mexican to slip from her grasp, quite literally. And now the crowd is back into it. It's just about to write Turks into the bracket as the winner for that one. And Cardenas slipped the noose. I guess the noose would be more apropos if it was a shimewaza, but in any case was able to escape the Osai Komi. See Turks continuing to fight. And look at this. All of a sudden, Cardenas has Turks. She had Turks in Osai Komi, just couldn't control her. That was an absolute prime chance for the Mexican. The crowd is screaming for Yuko. I think they wanted that transition from Tachiwaza to Newaza to get a score. The Turks drops down into Stemiwaza. Cardenas is trying, but she's opening herself for Uranage here. And Cardenas did a good job there of spinning out just before she hit the tatami. She came into that last throw, Cardenas didn't have a whole lot of kazushi. That stalled the attack and gave Turks a chance for Uranage. Turks looks again with Osotogari. Dennis has got to work on getting an attack there. Here she looks for Makikomi, but again, almost got caught with Uranage. And now, again she slips out. So Turks look like she had Cardenas, this time with Kuzure Kesagatame. And she does manage to hold down Cardenas for Yuko. It'll be the second time that Cardenas is able to slip out of Turk's grasp. Minute 14 left. And Awazari and Yuko on the board. They say Cardenas has to get Ippon. She had that one Osai Komi opportunity. Turks was able to escape from that. So for that, it's been mostly Turks. Dennis did a pretty good job of sprawling out on that Seoinage attack. That Turks just working on the time. 35 seconds left in the clock in this match. See if Cardenas can pull the rabbit out of the sombrero here. Again, Turks goes with that Seoinage.
He's giving it a good go, Cardenas.
You know, the first 30 seconds, Turks almost had her for a Saikomi for the Ippon, and Cardenas basically escaped from that, and she's actually just sort of been kept in the match. The scoreboard says all Turks, but Cardenas has done well to stay in the match for the entire period.
Yep, Turks held on with the 2 scores. Cardenas gave the crowd a little something to shout about.
Certainly energized the crowd. It was a nice little fight there. There was some drama to her escaping 2 Osaikomi attempts. One that resulted in Wazari and the other in Yuko. And then Cardenas had a shot at a Saikomi herself, but just couldn't hold Turks down. Nice little fight.
Coming up next, Ilias Iliadis of Greece faces Joachim Dvabi of Sweden. It's Iliadis in the white judogi, Dvabi in blue. Here's David again.
Just think about it. 2004 Olympic champion. It's been 12 years. Ilias is still out here, battling it out in the Masters.
Well, I suppose the fact that he was a youngster, I mean a real youngster when it happened, gives him that kind of longevity, doesn't it?
It kind of reminds me of Tani, right? Tani won very early and held in there. I think for me, the one thing that really stood out for me is that big world championship in Chelyabinsk. I'm not saying that people wrote Iliadis off, but I don't know if they expected him to be at the top of the podium at a world or Olympic championship, but there he was. It could be in Rio. Wouldn't that be a nice way to bookend the career?
Usha Steenhuis from the Netherlands has just won her contest down on mat number 1, by the way. Jung Soo-hui and Marta Tort Moreno are taking to mat number 1 now. That's in the under 78 kilo category. Single Shido picked up by Iliadis. Dvabi also picked up a single Shido. That's the state of the contest at the moment, with a little under 3.5 minutes left to go. Dvabi not happy about the grip that Iliadis had taken. Now Iliadis having to tidy something up.
The left hand is pretty heavily taped for Iliadis.
Just when you line up different contests, you have in your mind, this is going to be the order that we're going to bring the people watching at home. Then you get a delay like this that takes you, it moves you away, because then the next one gets longer and this one finishes by Ippon, and so that all gets thrown out the window. You at home, however, don't have that worry. You can decide whichever mat it is that you want to watch. We've only got the 2 here today anyway, so
a bit easier today.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that
mats,
difficult.
yeah.
Sometimes we've got 4, sometimes 5 in Paris. It can be, a bit tricky, but
At the Kokan Cup, they have 7.
yeah.
It's a nightmare for the photographers because they can't use the middle lane, so they have to run outside on either end.
2 penalties picked up by Varby. A little under 3 minutes left to go now.
Oh yeah, it looks like he's searching for that deep collar grip.
Ooh. It's just the moment there. Divabi felt that as well and moved off it. 3 penalties. picked
Javi
up
had
by
a good look
Divabi.
there. That the arm lock with the leg. Miliadis Kesakatame? No, he's gonna roll through that.
He's not done yet.
Nice little Newaza exchange going on there.
Yeah, he's freed now. No. Yeah, it's not going to go anywhere now. That's it. Sigh of relief almost
Yes.
from Iliadis.
It's a nice little Newaza exchange there. I like that. There's some awkward positioning, but
Yeah. The difficulty with an exchange like that is that you get back up, and having dominated so much, you then get whacked over with the very next attack.
well, it's that grinding nature of on the ground. Really can draw the energy out of you.
Done. He stepped off the mat. There was no attack from Iliadis. It was a step out from Varby. You're not going to be happy, but
Dare I say, rookie mistake.
Jan Schneiders, at the head refereeing, IJF head refereeing director, says at every draw, fight in the middle of the tatami. Tell your fighter to fight in the middle of the tatami.
To avoid just such a situation.
Varby knows it. Yeah. Crowd don't like it, but stepped off the mat. He wasn't under attack. Zhang Zihui has just arm locked Marta Tort Moreno of Spain down on mat number 1, so she goes in to the quarter-final, and I'll give you the quarter-final lineup now, because the under 78 kilo category first round contest are complete. I'll give you that quarter-final lineup in a minute. In fact, we're going to leave the contest between Abderrahman Benamadi of Algeria and Michal Skank of Slovenia. That's on mat number 2. We're going to go down to mat number 1, because coming up on mat number 1, it's the number 1 seed in the under 90 kilo category, Baker Mashu of Japan. He faces Sebastian Temesi of Australia. It's a tall order for the Australian, isn't it? To face Baker Mashu, and to bring you the commentary on this one is David McFall.
I'm just showing a few more highlights from the previous match.
In that case, what I'll do is, whilst we're waiting for the 2 fighters to come to the mat, I'll just tell you that the quarterfinal lineup in the under 78 kilo categories, Kayla Harris in the United States of America will face Assunta Gaglioni of Italy. It'll be Natalie Powell of Great Britain to face her teammate Gemma Gibbons. Husha Steenhuis of the Netherlands to face Zheng Zihui of China, and Mayra Aguiar of Brazil to face Victoria Turks of Ukraine. Here's David.
Baker Mashu picks up Ashido, as does Messier. I've seen in the past 9-12 months Baker Mashu's his posture has gotten a little bit more upright. He used to have this squatting style. Still does it occasionally. I think we saw a little bit of it there. Tanisi fighting desperately to get out of this Osai Komi here. And Baker Mashu now has him in Kamishiho.
Sandra Zaghetti tells us that Sebastian Temesi was originally from Hungary. They get everywhere, the Hungarians. Sandra's words, not mine. Mashu, Baker Mashu it is, who overcomes his Australian opponent. So round, that's also the quarterfinal, into the quarterfinal there, and it's shaping up nicely. We're going to stay here because David's going to give us a complete rundown on the next contest, and that's between Cyril Grossklaus of Switzerland. He faces Colton Brown of the United States of America. It's Grossklaus in the white judogi, Brown in blue. The two fighters will be on the mat fairly shortly, but before that we'll have some highlights from the previous contest. And after this it will be David McFall.
You can see just how Temesi really put a good effort in here to get out of this Osai Komi, but Baker Mashu kept his composure and basically kept his torso on top of Temesi. It looked like originally he was looking for Keisugatame, and then they do these around the world drills in Japan, and Baker Mashu finally got him with like Kuzure Kamishiho. See here, that was the takedown, if you will. I don't even know if that's scored as a throw. That brings us up to the Brown Grossklaus contest here. Colton Brown had a nice result at the Pan Americans. He got a silver medal, losing out to Camille, but probably his best result thus far. He's grown a lot in the last 12 months or so. He's graduated from San Jose State, so it's given him some more time to train. The Pan American result clinched a spot for him in the Olympics. And he'll be going to the Olympics with teammate Nick Del Popolo, who they both come from the same dojo, New Jersey, where I actually started out doing judo, so it's nice to see Colton and Nick share the legacy of Yonezuka Sensei. I guess we give a big shout out to Nick Yonezuka, who took over for his father's dojo. It's Cranford Judo and Karate. No scores thus far. Shido now goes to blue. Colton likes to do that cross gripping, and I'm waiting for him to try to come over the top there. That's usually his favorite grip.
Half the contest gone. Single Shido against the American Colton Brown at the moment. Just working his way into this. He's avoided that little Uchimata effort that Grosskreutz has thrown up there on a couple of occasions. But I've seen him bang a couple of people over there with that. That gripping infringement is going to draw a second penalty now against Colton Brown. 2 Shidos picked up by Brown. A little over 2 minutes left to go. He's trying to spin him into that Uchimata, isn't he?
Herky-jerky kind of. It's not really a really clean setup with a feint or something like that.
Brown off the pace here. He got mugged by Grosskreutz there. 4, inconsequential efforts from Grosskreutz resulted in Brown not coming up with an attack. And he was frustrated with the last one because it really wasn't threatening, but it moved him, so it was an attack, and as a result of that, he's picked up a 3rd penalty.
Yeah, Grosskreutz has done a good job of selling these.
Exactly,
these attacks.
yeah, they're nothing. It's not going to throw him.
Good tactical game on the part of the man from Switzerland. It's another one. Got another 2 attacks.
Yeah. The thing is, they're not the best attacks. They're not the strongest attacks, but they're keeping Brown from attacking, and he hasn't responded yet. He hasn't caught on to this.
I think he's one of those situations where he's looking for the perfect grip, and that's just not gonna. Yeah. He's just not gonna get that. That was actually the first kind of attacking sequence you saw it from Brown at all.
47 seconds left to go. 46 seconds.
Well, if he can pick himself up and just get a Yuko.
Well, now they've decided that the attacks from Grosskreutz weren't that good. Because he was moving, he was turning in and said, well, you're not really attacking him. Now that was a better effort.
That was, yeah.
So now Grosskreutz picks up the penalty, but this really is the last roll of the dice here. He's got to come up with something that threatens Grosskreutz. And a single score would win it now. If he catches Grosskreutz here, Brown goes through to the next round.
One thing about the Americans, they appear to have really good conditioning, so he should have something left in the tank. But another attack by Grosskreutz.
He hasn't got enough to really threaten him any longer, Brown.
Yep. He's moving, but he's not throwing.
He picks up a second penalty, but with 4 seconds to go, it's too little too late. Real frustration there.
I'll take it as a learning experience. This is just one more in the development of Colton Brown.
He wasn't able to come up with anything that really threatened Grosskreutz, and the Swiss fighter just managing to keep him away.
I think I was talking to Neil yesterday or the day before about this idea that the Koreans are able to attack from a variety of gripping positions. They really don't need to have that one grip, and this is something a lot of judoka could use, and this is a good case with Colton Brown.
Well, we're going to stay with the under 90 kilo category, but we're going to move over to mat number 2, because on mat number 2, the contest between Thiago Camilo of Brazil and Hussein Khalmozaev of Russia is underway. There's a little over 2 minutes left to go. It's Camilo in the white judogi, Khalmozaev in blue, and the Russian has picked up 3 penalties, and Thiago Camilo just the 1. We had hoped to see Kyle Moussaev's twin brother, Hassan, in the under 81 kilo category, the current European champion, but Russians didn't send him. They sent 3 others. Oh, nice Uchimata, and over goes Camilo.
Well, Camilo has probably been in there as long as Iliadis. I'll check on that, but
Only Yuko? Yeah, probably. Minute to go then. It's just that single Yuko to Kyle Moussaev, scored with that right Uchimata a moment or so ago. That separates the 2. He's looking the more positive as well at the moment. Strong grip with that left hand underneath the armpit, but Camilo feels the pressure and he just takes a drop. He's going to pick up a penalty for a false attack.
it would appear that Camilo was in London, Beijing, and Sydney. So he's been around even longer than Iliadis.
That's right. He did a whole cycle longer than did Iliadis.
Well, it's interesting, he was not at Athens, but Sydney, Beijing, and London.
Well, you could have a look and find out why, but I'm sure that the Brazilians had someone in that weight.
Second in Sydney, silver in Sydney, bronze in Beijing, and a 5th place showing in London.
It was Iliadis who beat him in London. Oddly enough. Do you know something? Sometimes I can't remember who won the bronze medal yesterday. No,
and
really.
then other things you pull, yeah.
Well, no, I mean, it's really funny because if you had asked me that question, then I wouldn't have known. But you were talking about it, it came up, and that piece of information just, you know, it comes out. Yeah, the brain is a bizarre thing. You know, when we, you know, if we're at dinner or something and Kyle Moussaev comes back really well. There was 3 penalties down at one stage, came back with a Yuko that he dug deep to take that one. And then you just remember something.
Well, I mean, it was like what I was saying with Tomoforov. You know, it's one of those things, if you were to ask me who won the bronze medal in the World Championships for anything else, I probably would be hard-pressed. But that match just sticks with me and will stick with me for the rest of my life as one of the great matches.
Markus Niemann has won his contest, the opening contest down on mat number 1. He defeated Karolis Bauza of Lithuania. But on mat number 2 now, Toma Nikiforov of Belgium. He's up against Michael Corel of the Netherlands. It's Nikiforov in the white judogi, Corel in blue. And if you... Let's click on Beijing. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. Where you were before.
Okay.
Yeah, click on Beijing. And then go down, scroll down to the under 81 kilo category. Go up. Right. Click on Kim Jae-um. Yeah. See, he wouldn't have been in Athens. Okay, go back. Hope you're all enjoying the broadcast at home. We're going to click on this one. There's something I'm going to look at, and I think I know how to find it.
Well, meantime, I'll keep an eye on the match.
Nice, okay. We've got the the wonders of people having to being able to choose their own mat and can entertain themselves for a moment because this is going to occupy our minds here. Right, we were looking to see why it was that
Camillo.
Camilo would not have gone to Athens.
Yes.
And there's your answer.
Flavio Canto.
Because at that time, that's the weight that he would have been in at that time. So Flavio edged him out, Flavio Canto. And down in the weight below, you'll also see Leandro Guilherme at 73. He then moved up to 81. I don't think they had anybody at 90. Lower down.
Fantastic.
Go down a bit. See if they made an appearance at 90. Nah. So there you go. That's that. A little bit of background to Thiago Camilo. He missed out on Athens because he'd come into the sphere of Flavio Canto. Couldn't edge him out.
The great Newaza Flavio Canto.
Corral has picked up a single Yuko. 2:20 odd left to go. Down on mat number 1, Axel Clerget of France faces Shirali Uraev of Uzbekistan. It's Clerget down there who is at a disadvantage having picked up a single Shido. But Corral on this mat with Nikiforov in the under 100 kilo category. He leads by Yuko with a little over 2 minutes left to go.
Corral sliding in there for Ippon Seoinage. Which resulted in a bit of a Shido there for Nikiforov for passivity. Hadn't gotten his attacks in. Yeah, right now Corral is doing all the movement here. Another attack by Corral. Nikiforov is going to pick up another passivity penalty here. Might take one more exchange. Corral spins in. That could score. It's too late. Just 15 seconds left. You can just see Nikiforov is absolutely gassed. Corral can pick up a couple passivity Shidos. It doesn't really matter because he's got that Yuko on the board, and that's going to be the end of Nikiforov for this competition.
Well, we can stay here because I think we're about to have a question answered in this upcoming contest. Martin Pacek will face Tagir Haibulaev of Russia. He is the sole possibility of the 3 Olympic champions that Russia had in London. Arsene Galstian, Mansour Isayev, and Tagir Haibulaev is the sole representative now that remains with the prospect of fighting in Rio. With all due respect to Arsene Galstian, I don't think he will go at 66. And now let's find out. There's that gold back patch. And a few people say that that is a target rather than a signal, you know, of who you are. It ends up being a target and a burden for some.
It is a true monkey on your back, I think, from Sun. And I was just talking to someone in the car this morning about this, just about the idea of the post-Olympic, for lack of a better, depression almost. You know, you've climbed the pinnacle, and then you come down from this mountain, but then you've got this huge burden of wearing this big gold back patch, and everyone wants to have a go at you. It's really, really tough, especially I think the first year.
Well, let's see if Haibulaev can overcome Pacek. And as far as the seedings are concerned, in the top 4 seeds were Gazimov, the number 1, Kapalik, the number 2, Marais, number 3, Nikiforov, number 4. Haibulaev was not seeded. Pacek was one of the top 8 seeds. So that's why Haibulaev has drawn Pacek here. But for me, this is a really good test. Haibulaev has got to come past this if he's got any aspirations of doing anything in Rio.
Well, you were mentioning the 3 Olympic champions from London Games, from the Russian team, and I think you mentioned yesterday when we were having a bit of a break about Isayev, and what happened with Mansour Isayev?
He went on this tour afterwards, you know, the sort of circus, the razzmatazz. That's okay. He did a little bit here and there. He entered a few competitions, and he always looked short of motivation for me. That's what it was. You know, nothing was the same after his Olympic gold medal. There must have been incredible highs for him. Once in a while he'd come out, he'd absolutely spank someone with beautiful technique, and then he'd just disappear. I don't mean that you didn't see him, but he would come to a competition and he was an absolute shadow of himself without looking ugly.
A fantastic attack there by Pacek.
Yeah, Yoko Sutemi was nicely done.
Spectacular in flight. Landing was Yuko.
He managed to push him on his back after the landing, but that didn't enhance the score. It was a single Yuko. 2:48 left to go. There's plenty of time here. My money is on Haibulaev, oddly enough, after that score. Because it's a little bit like a slap in the face. You know, up until, you know, when things are even, they're even. It could go either way. They're not even any longer.
Right.
You know, and Haibulaev is going to see that every time he looks at the scoreboard. He's going to feel that at the end of his hands as well. You know, I'm behind here. You know, I can see my, you know, an Olympic position not disappearing, but certainly being threatened. That whole image that I took so hard to work on into London and have had for these last 4 years. Pacek's about to rub that out here. You know.
Well, we're well into the match. Probably not fair to do a wager, but just for sporting's sake, and since I usually lose at this, I'll pick Pacek for a Bohemia.
Absolutely. You know, you're a good man. You know, I'd do the same thing, but I've already, you know, put my card out there.
That's it.
It's Haibulaev. We've got 2 minutes to go. It does make things slightly more interesting now that we've got a wager, and I realise that 1,000 pesos is a lot of money, but I'm up for it. So that was a good call. It was a good call. Unless you want to take it back now.
1,000 pesos. I said Bohemia. That's about 40 pesos.
Okay.
At a high-class establishment.
So he's taking it back now.
I said it for Bohemia.
David's taking
Your
it
beer
back.
terms. Your beer terms.
Right, single Yuko the lead for Martin Pacek. A Bohemia is what it is on offer here. And we're not advertising for them at all. That was just purely accidental. Ibelaev, by the way, has picked up a second penalty, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
Let's see if he can dig deep,
Took the words right out of my mouth.
come up with something.
Got a couple Brazilians in this weight class. The other mat, contest just came off, so I don't know what the result of that Korea match was, but following up on this match, it's Buzacarina from Brazil.
.46 to go, Tagir, up on your feet. You're not turning Pacek over with this one. .43 seconds were on the clock when they went to ground, and it was Ibelaev who was on the attack. He rolled that dice, he rolled those dice, and they didn't come up for him. Pacek was delighted with that particular choice.
Pacek has always struck me as having a good ground game to begin with.
One Bohemia goes to David. I'll be delighted to entertain him to that
I'll give you an opportunity to get that back later in the day.
after the event, if we do that. So it's Martin Pacek who knocks out the current Olympic champion Tagir Ibelaev. Single Yuko was enough to do it, and we're going to stay here because coming up next is Cyril Marais of France. He faces Rafael Buzacarini of Brazil. It'll be Marais in the white judogi, Buzacarini in blue.
That should come on rather quickly because I don't think there were much highlights from that last match.
I think we only get them when we're on mat 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, we just something nice to be able to look at because we've got nice slow motions and good close-ups and everything.
Well, that makes sense because the final block is all on mat number 1, so they've got all the technical
set up. Yeah.
Well, I'm not quite sure if I mentioned Cyril Marais this morning, but he's another one who I enjoy watching. There he goes.
Too far away. And it was as though as soon as he turned in, the hand slipped, and he ended up just protecting himself at the end.
Marai's always got really, really nice judo, but I love the way he steps it up when he goes into the Paris Grand Slam. He puts it into a different gear, doesn't he?
You've just made Lars Hellberg's day by winning that bet. He's celebrating somewhere in Sweden now, saying Bohemia power.
Lars, I wish I could split that beer with you, buddy.
Yeah, he'd probably have a few as well. He got himself into a good position there, didn't he, Buzacarini, with the shape for the Seoinage? I wonder what made him bail out of it.
I was going to say, yeah, why did he bail out?
He did all the hard work, turned in, and decided, no, I don't fancy it any longer. I'm off. Yeah, hello, Lars, it's always nice to get your emails. And in fact, I should have thanked yesterday Richard Britton, because he sent me some emails that deserved answering. One of them was about Deguchi Krista.
Okay.
From Japan, and why is it that we've not seen her competing internationally for Japan? That was a question.
I got 3 words for you. Too
Not
much
good
depth.
enough.
Too much depth.
Yeah. Same thing.
I think she's,
Yeah.
number 4 on the roster. Though we haven't seen a whole lot of Yamato Anzu either. We saw a little bit more of her. It's a nice exchange there.
Yeah, there's a pecking order at the moment, and Deguchi's yet to break into that and be a solid pick every time.
Big Oshigari attempt there. It will be very interesting to see post Rio. I don't see Matsumoto going to the next cycle. Udaka may stick around, but I don't think she'll last it all the way till Tokyo 2020. And so it could be that Deguchi Krista will have a shot, and her main rival, at least right now, and that was a really nice throw right there.
She gets a look in, yeah.
The Brazilian, and he's got a good position, but Murray comes back on top, but that earned a waza ari. Murray's got a side komi here, looks pretty solid.
Just a little after 12 o'clock here. We're waiting for the arrival of Mr. Adams. When he does arrive, he'll join David McFall. I know that you enjoy working with the big man.
I enjoy working with both you guys.
Very nice of you to say that. I understand that he's been beavering away writing some articles recently as Neil. Is that right?
Yes, he has. Maybe we'll get to that a bit today.
Yeah.
And Murray again gets
Unbelievable.
This is
Zari up, wasn't he?
This is the second time though, but this one is absolutely solid. Textbook Keisugatame.
A few tapping out. There is a debate about the merits of tapping out in Osaikomi, and I know there are a lot of people who say it's unforgivable and unthinkable that one should submit from an Osaikomi, from a Kansetsu waza or a shimi waza, yes, but you should fight out to the end, irrespective of whether you believe that you can escape or not. I subscribe to the idea of attempting to escape from an Osai waza for as long as you believe that there is a chance to escape. And the only reason that you should tap out from an Osai waza is if you're pinned and there's a rib injury or something along those lines. Right. Coming up on mat number 2, Ramadan Darwish and Sejenik Miklos, if you want to watch that one. But we're going to go down to mat number 1 to pick up the contest between Lukas Kapalik of the Czech Republic. He faces Jorge Fonseca of Portugal. It's Kapalik in the white judogi, Fonseca in blue. There's no scorers yet, a minute gone. Kapalik has just picked up Ashido, and here's David McFall.
See what the 2014 world champion here can do. Folks who follow Kapalik knows that he's dangerous on the ground. And he usually sets it up with Stemiwaza, which is pretty much the 1-2 punch for most, dare I say, Newaza specialists. But here we go. Kapalik trying to come over the top. I believe it was in Astana that we saw Kapalik do these sotogaris that he just didn't get Kazushi and was countered. It didn't look good. I'm hoping he doesn't go in that direction again. And as I said in our pre-show, he's coming back from a shoulder injury.
I can't remember where it was that they started those plastic, hand clap things. They're inflated. Oh! Completely over-rotated. And Fonseca.
I think there was an over-rotation, but also Fonseca kept the momentum. He kept twisting his body in the air.
Exactly, he felt that. He helped. Oh! And he catches Kapalek. That's the danger, isn't it? That you come up with a really, really good attack, and as soon as you get back up, your opponent
your
comes back
adrenaline
at you.
is flowing, right? I almost did it. Yuko was a good call, but there was definitely more potential there for Fonseca. So 2 big moves in the last 30 seconds. Not of the match. Let's see another Seoinage attempt here by Fonseca.
And all of a sudden, Kapalek has gone from having almost thrown Fonseca for Ippon to being a Yuko down.
That was big flight time. We've got tons of time left in this match. It's over 2.5 minutes left, but it's real exciting judo. This is it. This is exactly the way Kapelek usually sets up this newaza, so he can get the foot out. Fonseca he went right into the trap. Good effort, though. Now, you were talking about people tapping in Osai Komi. Fonseca here is giving it his all.
Well, he may have missed him standing up, but he made no mistake about it in newaza. Typical finish for Lukas Kapalek of the Czech Republic as he overcame Jorge Fonseca on the ground, and it is Kapalek who makes his way into the quarterfinal. Coming up next, after some highlights, it'll be Jose Armenteros of Cuba to face Elkan Mamadov of Azerbaijan. Armenteros, the Cuban in the white judogi, Mamadov from Azerbaijan in blue.
I'm a bit surprised on the side of Fonseca because Kapelek is well known for that.
Plenty of them. You win some, you lose some. You may not see it live, but we'll see it from 7 different angles now. So,
in super slow motion.
yeah. Armenteros of Cuba it is, who knocks out Elkan Mamadov. And one Cuban steps off the mat, and another about to take to the tatami as Armenteros disappears down those stairs and then round the back and into the warm-up area. There you go.
Wonderful. So look at that rotation. Gorgeous.
Well, I can see why the referee gave Wazari. I can see why the referee gave Wazari. I've got no problem with Wazari. But they decided on Ippon. And my take on Ippon, and he's got a good view of the back here. For me, that's a good call. And we'll have another Ippon in a minute because Ortiz has just flattened Chibisova of Russia. Here, look. If you can see any of the back number and advertising and the country name, he can't be flat on his back.
Yeah.
good call from the referee.
Both
I think.
shoulder blades.
Yeah. Monteros disappears. He left the tatami for Ortiz, and we're just watching Ortiz leaving the tatami. But it's okay, because we're going to get six views of it now.
We should tell it. How many Ippons can we not see in real time?
Yeah. Maria Suellen Altman of Brazil is about to take to the mat against Marina Slutskaya of Belarus.
I wonder if we'll see any of this match.
This should keep us entertained for a little bit longer. Yeah. Oh dear, we haven't got any of Ortiz. It's probably we were still catching up on the reel with Armonteros. Oh well, we're going to see Ortiz a little bit later anyway. Altman in the white judogi, Slutskaya of Turkey. Two Turkish heavyweights are here. Ooh, over goes Slutskaya.
Said this is a tough group. This group is Pool A between Ortiz, Altman, and Slutskaya, but it looks like it's going to be down to Altman Ortiz.
That's going to be a good matchup. I think I know who the home crowd are going to be cheering for.
They're going to be pulling for the Olympic champion?
Spanish speaker.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. That's going to be a good match.
Right, coming on to mat number 1 now. Ma Sirsa of China faces Santa Pakanita of Lithuania. It'll be Ma in the white judogi and Pakanita in blue, after we've seen some highlights from the Maria Suellen Altman, Marina Slutskaya contest.
Nice big 1-2 punch. Really big Osoto followed up by Keisagatame.
Now, no one has sent me an email about my liking for the correct pronunciation of Chinese names. And I know I can get a bit fussy sometimes, but it's not that difficult if you go and ask the athlete. And we were doing that this morning, Mark Pickering and I, we were going around and just checking, you know, whether it was Zhang or Jiang or Sirsa or CC. You just have to ask her. She's a pleasant enough fighter. She speaks good English, by the way.
It looks like she's taking a cue from the Cubans here with the hair
hairstyle,
color.
Yeah. If it's good enough for Ortiz, it's good enough
I was going to say.
for me.
It will be quite the technicolor fight if it's Ortiz versus Ma.
Or more correctly, yeah, it should be it's good enough for Ma and not for me, because I can't possibly color my hair like that. Ma Si is the Chinese in the white judogi, Santa Pakanita, with all natural blonde. Her opponent in blue. Picked up the single Shido, did the Lithuanian, and that's the state of the contest with a little under 3 minutes left to go. Here's David McFall.
Guess we could call that hair color Rio Red. As she buckles down here. A big move there by blue. And there we go. Just a solid Osoto Gari by Ma. We're seeing some nice big quick ippons here at plus 78. Ortiz, Altman, Amont, all of them winning by the big score. We're going to stick in this mat number 1 here. Check out, here's the highlight again, this big Seoinage. Looks like Ma had a little bit of blush on her cheeks there to match her Rio red hairstyle. Drive there. She looks up to confirm it again. Yes, big commitment. Loads up on the one side of the body. You can see how deep that leg was as well. We're going to stick here with Salvo Koz of the Netherlands versus Sayed of Turkey. And the reason is because the plus 100s are coming up quickly. A wry smile. Face the Turkish fighter, maybe was more a grimace. She appears to be in a bit of pain.
Kaira Sayed picked up a Shido there. So the advantage with Tessie Savalcool at the moment. I like Tessie. You know, she's spirited. Oh, nice effort there with the driving Ouchigari. I don't know about the Yuko there. A bit generous. I hoped Sayed landed on a front rather than a side, but Yuko's on the board at the moment. And now it's not. Decided to take that off. It was away from the referee, and he couldn't see that side of the body. I'd have left it for the table officials to make that call. Decided to call Yuko, and in the end it wasn't. Just looking for 96 kilos. He's the lightest fighter in the weight category, Tessie Savalcool. Real spirited effort from a lighter. What's ailing? I wonder what that was about then. Pull out through injury, or? I really don't know what that was. Well, in any case, we've been waiting to see Harazawa Hisayoshi of Japan, and here he is. The first appearance of the number 1 seed in the plus 100 kilo category. He faces Batulga Temolian of Mongolia. Let's see how he manages this his opening contest. It's round 2 actually. So this for a place in the quarterfinal. Harazawa in the white judogi, Batulga in blue. Both the Japanese heavyweights are on now. One in the plus 78 kilo category, one here in the plus 100. both fighters pick up penalties for passivity. Koza maybe not overly concerned at this stage. Just a single Shido. Thought about coming across on the right side for Ippon Seoinage, but hardly had he moved when he returned to his start position, and that was a poor effort from Batolga, to be honest. He was lucky to avoid picking up a penalty for a false attack. Really didn't put a great deal in there. There's so much expectation on the shoulders of Harazawa now. He's the fighter in the absence of Teddy Riner, who the crowd want to see deliver, and that's what they're looking for.
The big question is, will he attack Teddy Riner like this? Nobody has really attacked Teddy Riner. We did see Shichin Ohei, was it last year in Astana? No, the year before, I believe, in Chelyabinsk, who had Renier on his heels.
Well, he gave Batolga a bit of a slapping there, didn't he? Threw him beautifully with Uchimata, and he came up with Wazari, and then he was quickly into the Osai Komi, all done and dusted fairly quickly. So Harazawa showing the kind of, giving the kind of signs that the fans want to see. They want to see throws, they want to see some action, and Harazawa delivered there within inside a couple of minutes. So
he's got no problem attacking big, thick guys. The question is someone as tall as Renier, the tall, athletic build guys.
He doesn't get the support leg exactly where he wants it, but it doesn't matter. Look where the support leg is. It's not quite where he wants, and that's maybe why he doesn't finish him off. But hey, we're really splitting, or I'm splitting hairs. But he gave him a good enough spanking with this one. Now, coming up on map number 1, we've got Daniel Natia of Romania. He faces Jose Cuevas of Mexico. It's Natia in the white judogi, Cuevas in blue. And we were talking about the lightest fighter in the women's plus 78 kilo category, Tessie Savalcools at 96.3 kilos. And we could be looking at the heaviest fighter in the men's division here.
You're speaking of Cuevas?
Well, you're going to see in a minute. There's Cuevas in blue, and there's Natia in white. That's a thumping, yeah. Cuevas apparently is... Have a look at this. This is the sheet that we've been given, right? What do you read that as Cuevas?
I see that as 134.5.
I see that as 134.5. And what do you see that as?
128.8.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Either that or there's an optical illusion going on
right,
here.
we'll go and sort this out then. I'll leave you with David McFall. He's going to be joined by Neil Adams briefly whilst we sort out the inconsistencies with the weigh-in list.
Perhaps there was some wishful thinking in the part of one of those two.
Who's coming up next then? Oh, it's Roy Meyer on map 1. Roy Meyer and Mohamed Tayeb of Algeria. It'd be Meyer in the white judogi, Tayeb in blue.
We're just seeing the highlights.
Well, I'd just like to say hello and
Hey, Neil, how's
yeah,
it going?
It's good. It's good. So,
Some good judo this morning.
well, fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Nice Uchimata there from Harasawa.
Good opening match for him. You know, it's funny. I didn't see him in the warm area, so I was like, where is he? What's going on? You know, but maybe he knew he was coming on a little later in the day, so he took the later bus.
Just talking to some of our guys interviewing Yamashita yesterday, and Yamashita really looking forward to that match more than anything at the Olympic Games. Teddy Riner and Harasawa.
If he gets there, it's going to be a big match.
Yeah. Well, apparently it is, but anyway, we can only wait for that. It's all over, obviously, after this.
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt that the fever is going to rise because everyone's looking for the challenger, Renier. Nice move there by Roy Meyer.
Wow, beautiful Seoinage there from Meyer. Wazari scored. Dropped Seoinage, and of course, if the thing is about Meyer, he is a pumped up, obviously, minus 100 kilo player, but really established himself now as one of the main contenders for the Olympic Games. And Seoinage, his favoured technique. He's not always coordinated with that Seoinage, but he readjusts, gets underneath the big guys. Tayeb has to come forward now. It's 3 Shidos on the board and just about to get on Sokomaki by the looks of it.
There he goes again.
Fourth Shido will be Hon Sokomaki for Tayeb. Meyer gets a Shido, second one there for stepping outside of the area. So he's starting to back off. Tayeb coming forward, but I think he's got to be careful, David, for the Seoinage again. That's just what you don't want to do with him.
I always like when the heavyweights kind of do throws that are not necessarily characteristic of heavyweights. You know, Meyer with the Seoinage, Timonov those years back with the Stemiwaz and things like that. It's nice. It just gives a little bit of variety versus the Harai Goshis or the big Osotogaris.
Well, it's the obvious one against the bigger guys, but it can result in injury as well. I mean, you can see there he gets pulled back quite often, Meyer. But I think up to number 5 in the world rankings now, so really worked his way up. There's another Seoinage. He's trying to get him Hon Sokomaki here, trying to get that 4th penalty onto Tayeb.
I think it was it Astana that Meyer was against Renier and actually he kind of went for it.
Well, he did do it. It was the first time they'd met. They'd never met before, and so everybody was kind of looking forward to it. But again, too big, too rangy, and obviously a class above the rest of their heavyweights.
Sheldon's just brought in the weigh-ins for these athletes, and there was a bit of a discrepancy as far as David Natia, and it turns out it wasn't 128 kilos; it was 178 kilos. Just a 50-kilo mistake there.
Large, yes, just 50 here and there. What's that? Well, exactly my point. I mean, Roy Meyer, they're up from minus 100 kilograms, probably weighing. I'm just looking now at Meyer's.
He said it 127. So 123. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 127, but giving away a lot of weight. Tayeb here, weighing in at 160 kilograms, so a lot of weight given away. 30 kilograms difference between these two. Oh, it's a 3rd penalty up there for Meyer, and you can see there he's having real problems with his back. Exactly what we were just talking about.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Something's got to go. Well, Tayeb is at 160 kilos, which is about the same weight as Kamikawa, who's also a pretty big square block, like a brick with legs.
Yeah, well, this is where he needs a little bit of variation, maybe some ashiwaza and some foot techniques in order to stave off the larger Tayeb coming forwards. He could just lose this, Meyer. He's a wazari up, and there's a possibility of another penalty. And there's the 3rd penalty there. They must have taken the other one off, so he's got to be very careful now. 40 seconds to go. He's backing off, and he's also got a bad back, so he won't want to turn in for that Seoinage.
Tayeb had a look there. Yeah, if you're going to be a Sinai specialist, you really got to work that Kouchi combination. And I don't think Mayer has that, does he?
Well, he's just done the Kouchi there, and I'm not sure if he's going to get a score for it. He actually took Tayeb back. I thought he deserved a score for that, but I don't know if video referee will agree with me. But we'll have a look back, hopefully in slow motion. Just have a look. There was a little bit of a delay to the change of direction.
We only get the super slow-mos at the end of the match, unfortunately.
Well, Tayeb's got a Wazari on the board as well. It's all evens, 3 Shidos each, 5 seconds to go. Could go into golden score.
I think it's a very good candidate for golden score.
Well, a lot of pressure on Mayer there. Tayeb just kept coming forwards.
Well, now they're both at the hairy edge with 3 Shidos apiece.
Yeah, any score now, and it's going to be all over.
I have a really bad feeling this is going to be someone's going to go out by Han Sakamake here.
Yeah, can they sustain the pace? The clock will count upwards now, and Mayer just walks out. I think that's going to be it. Mayer's going to go out here. So video referee will decide the fourth penalty to be awarded. It's going to be Mayer, I think, because he looked as if he drifted out. But you can't tell because they went the other way a couple of times yesterday for people pushing out. And look at that, it's gone against Tayeb.
So
you agree with that?
Yeah. Well, I guess they're saying he pushed him out. I don't know. That was pretty much gray area for me.
Well, it was for me too. They did give that same decision a couple of times yesterday. You couldn't really tell. I mean, if I was a coach, I'd have a job to say what to do other than stay away from the edge, stay in the middle.
That was that Wazari there by Tayeb.
Well, that was the Wazari by Tayeb, but I thought it was initiated by Mayer. But anyway.
Well, I thought if you were going for quality, I thought Mayer's Wazari was of a better quality than Tayeb's.
Well, anyway, so he's going to go through to the next round. Look at that. We just missed a big Seoinage there from Sasson.
This has been both the blessing and the curse of mat number 1, is a lot of times when we get the replay from the previous match, we miss out on something big in the first 15 seconds. And sure enough, the Ippon, and hopefully we'll get the replay of this.
Well, let's hope so, because here is a man that really has established himself in the heavyweights now as a contender for a medal. Watch this. He's going to drop underneath for the Seoinage, or the Sodi Surakami it looks like, off the sleeves, and he can go left and right. Beautifully executed there by Sasson. Excellent stuff. He's through to the next round. So
he was one of my picks this morning. Someone to look out for.
Oh, I'm just so consistent now with his performances, and it's taking him through to the later rounds of every tournament. Looks confident as well. So he can go right and left with it, decides on the left. The Austrian didn't stand a chance. Well, we're just about to go straight on now to Kayla Harrison, the Olympic champion. Quarterfinal match here against Assunta Gaglione of Italy.
Kayla kind of slipped through her first match there. Just won by the Shido. See if she can sort of get her performance, gear up a little bit.
Well, I mean, she's an absolute favourite, or one of the hot favourites for the Olympic title, defending her Olympic title, of course. And I know that with your magazine, your incredible magazine, Judoka, David, it's got a lot of absolutely amazing information in it. And, well, I'm hoping that's because I'm helping write some of the articles for you. But
I guess we should introduce if people haven't heard at home. So right now I'm publishing a magazine called Judoka Quarterly, and Neil has written a couple of articles basically analyzing the different weight classes and the athletes. The current issue features Kayla Harrison on the cover. We have about a 15-page interview with Kayla Harrison, and shows a lot of insight into what happened during her Olympic year, post-Olympic career year, and her prospects for Rio.
Well, it is amazing stuff. That's going to be a score. Was Ari there for Harrison? Is she going to hold her down now from there? I think she is. Foot caught. There's the offside commie. It's going to be all over. Just while she's got the offside commie, David, just a little bit about the magazine. I mean, what gave you the insight? You know, what gave you the motivation for the magazine?
Well, you know, there was a judo forum that was up a couple years ago, and there were some really great conversations, and there was a lot of information about it, and this forum folded. And then I said, well, I was looking for a judo magazine in English. You know, they have some really great French magazines and Japanese magazines. There wasn't something in English out there. A few years ago, there were a couple good magazines, but they went by the wayside. And I just figured I wanted to make something that I wanted to read. And I certainly wanted to read articles by yourself and some other authors. And I wanted to basically learn about the folks that we see here on the mat, a little bit about their background, their personal stories, and it just makes for a more enjoyable experience when you're watching.
Well, I'm going to ask you just a little bit more about it in just a couple of seconds. That was the score there from Kayla Harrison. Almost like an Osoto, but it was a little bit messy, but got the result, got the Osotogari, took her down, and then it was just take the leg out for the offside commie. She's through to the semi-final. The other quarter-final just about to happen now. Stenhuis of the Netherlands against Zhang Zuhu of China. So that's just happening right now.
Kayla, she's really dangerous on the ground. You get her an outside commie, you're not going to come out of that.
No, and I don't think she was. Just back to your magazine. How do they subscribe to the magazine? Just a quick. How do we do it? I mean, because here we've got a copy that we can actually see and feel, but how do we subscribe?
Okay, so basically we've Zinio.com, Zinio, is set up for the digital edition, but we've just actually launched an app. You can get it on iTunes or on Google Play called Judoka Quarterly, and they can get it through that. Or if they want the print edition, like you were referring to, Amazon.com. And just type in Judoka Quarterly. We come out 4 times a year. And we'd love your support, and I'm sure that everyone out there will enjoy it.
Well, I can just vouch for that. It is an amazing magazine. It's packed full of great articles, and it's up to date, and it's got a lot of depth in those articles. So, subscribe to it because it really is worth it.
Thanks so much, Neil. I hope everyone out there. And by the way, not just IJF content, but we've also got articles on kata. We've got photo essays, technique articles. And we're going to go into some other areas. We're going to look at the Paralympians, which don't get much press, and things like teaching kids. I like to have stuff out there for the senseis at home, tips and things like that.
Fantastic. Well, great stuff. Just missed there, big Oguruma. We're going to catch the slow motion of that. Stenhuis throwing Zhang of China and making it look easy. So she's through to the semi-final as well. Let's just have a look. She's got the sleeve here, dominates the sleeve and takes it over at a slight angle there. And Oguruma just snakes the leg across. Beautifully executed there.
Well done, well done.
So making it look easy through also to the semi-final. So should be some great matches in the latter part of this tournament.
Well, there's such quality at this Masters in terms of, with the top 16, you go through 1 or 2 rounds and all of a sudden, boom, you're at the top level.
Well, we're going to stay on this map because obviously we've got your favourite here, Baker Masu of Japan here against Grosshaus of Switzerland. Why is he your favourite?
One of my favorites.
I know he is.
Well, it's funny. I was talking before about Grosshaus beat Colton Brown, who I saw basically as a junior coming up when I was at my dojo back in New Jersey. Well, the same thing with Baker Masu. I saw him 10 years ago as a junior high schooler at the Kodokan, and he was one of the smallest kids in the class, and now he's filled out into this 90-kilo monster.
Well, and he's not your normal traditional style, I would say, Japanese fighter either, is he?
No, he definitely uses more power than most Japanese do. As I was saying in his earlier match, he used to have sort of this crouching kind of style. He's becoming more upright now, but power is really part of his game. He's got that ouchigari that he really drives through using that big upper body strength.
Well, we know that he's definitely part of the Olympic team. He's going to go representing Japan at the Olympic Games. And I think for me, definitely a medal contender. I don't know about winning the event, but I think a medal contender for sure. Look at that. Brilliant change of direction. Beautiful change of direction there. It was a left Sodi turned into a right Seoinage. Loved the way he did it.
That looks a little bit more Japanese-ish, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, real driving technique there. Scores a Wazari. Baker Masu is ahead.
Yeah, I think for him, the real breakthrough moment has got to be when he was part of the team event in Chelyabinsk, and he was part of the anchorman when they were 2 matches down to the Russians, and he came up huge, and he had his competitor, and the name escapes me, who he had with the Russian team, but had him down in Urakesa Katame, and you could see the determination on his face and the grit. And actually, at the end, when they had the award ceremony, they had him holding the trophy, the youngest guy in the team.
No, absolutely. I mean, he really is a pressure point athlete.
Yeah, it's fun to see these guys grow into full-on contenders.
Well, he's going to need it at the Olympic Games because that is that's where you need your mental approach. You need to get it right. Baker Masu then of Japan dominating the grips. Groslaus has a problem rotating through for the Uchimata that he has. Second penalty up for him.
Yeah, Baker's he likes not the over the top, but he likes a high collar position there, using that upper body strength. And Grossklaus got to watch out because Baker's got some pretty good mat skills as well.
He kind of grinds them down, Baker. Works hard. I know I pointed it out yesterday, but every one of the athletes out there looks as if they're overheating. It's very hot in this stadium.
Yeah, as you were saying yesterday, there's a difference between being warmed up as an athlete and being hot, like body temperature-wise.
Absolutely, yeah, there is. Big difference. I was just talking to the Israeli national coach about that exact thing, and we were talking just about warming up and not being able to warm up properly, actually, because it is too hot.
Well, Shawnee would have that experience being from Israel, right? And he's one of those guys who I think in terms of training techniques and just being aware of all the information, he's kind of cutting edge. He really tries to do a lot of innovative things.
Absolutely. Beautiful driving ouchi there from Baker. He really has good change of direction.
It's interesting. I think he lists his favorite technique as, I believe it was Uchimata, and I've rarely seen him pull an Uchimata in competition. So I don't know if he just put that up in jest or...
Well, maybe it's the ouchi that leads into it, and maybe it's a technique that he got in days past. But a little bit different here. He's probably having to adapt his technique somewhat. But grinding this one out, 1 minute 17 to go. Just pointing out that on mat 2 at the moment, Natalie Powell of Great Britain against Gemma Gibbons of Great Britain. Well, they've got Olympic selection up, so a bit of a double whammy here.
Let's take a drive over there and check that out. I think that's worth viewing.
So the ones that want to see Baker Groslaus, just stay on mat 1. We're just going to pop over to this one. This is an important match. As far as, obviously, it's a quarter-final, very, very important. One of them is going to be a semi-finalist, but not far off. World rankings are not far off each other. It's all about who's going to get selected for the Olympic Games.
Do you think this could be the linchpin, this match here?
Well, it could be. The last 2 times they've fought, I think Powell has been the winner. But obviously, Gemma Gibbons, the Olympic silver medalist, and that makes a massive difference. Certainly for Olympic experience is just worth so much.
Sheldon and I were talking about Jenna Gibbons in her earlier match, and the fact that she actually seems to do better when there's a lot of pressure, like something like the Olympic final, or even though she got a silver, that was a great performance against Harrison. A gutsy performance because her prior match, I believe, went into golden score, so she had pretty much almost spent herself and then had to go to the final.
Yeah, but I've got to say, though, that Natalie Powell has just grounded out over the last 4 years. She really has, and she's been piling up the medals. She's got more medals than any person at Grand Prix Grand Slam level than any British person. And so she is very, very consistent here. And she's winning this match. Gibbons has got 2 Shidos on the board.
And just an FYI, Baker Mashi did win that match, and the decider was that Wazadi, so we didn't miss much.
Good stuff. So he'll be through, and we look forward to seeing him a little bit later on.
Absolutely. And he's going to be fighting the winner of the Zanka Iliadis match, so a Baker Iliadis match would be very fun to watch.
Natalie Powell just beating Gibbons to the attack here. I think Gibbons just off the pace a little bit, needs to pick up the pace. It's all about the attacks when you attack.
Do you give an edge to either one of them, either on their feet or on the ground?
Well, I think that certainly they're very, very similar fighters. They're looking for the same kind of thing. They're both left-handed, and they're both looking for the same kind of technique. Natalie Powell has a good work rate. She works very, very hard. She does make mistakes. Sometimes she does go over. But Gemma does too. It's pretty evens, although the last 2 times out, Natalie Powell has been the winner. But, credit to Gemma Gibbons because she has been piling the pressure on Natalie Powell and just not giving it up at all.
Goes in there for that Maki Komi. Doesn't quite work out for her.
Yeah, 1 minute 22 left of this match. Natalie Powell first to stand up. Gemma Gibbons hoping that she's not injured in any way.
She's got that ankle taped up pretty well, doesn't she?
Yeah, well, I just want the match to finish all fair and square, and I think that both of them realise what's at stake here.
Well, regardless of the outcome of this match or even the selection, I would say that it's an indelible image of Gibbons in that London final and the effort that she put in.
Yeah, well, Natalie Powell's got to be careful there, just being drawn over to holding the same side of the jacket. Can't afford any penalties, of course, at this stage. Neither one of them can. There's the left to left. And that was because of an attack. They went out of the area, but Natalie Powell gets a Shido for it.
Just a minute left. This could get tied up with a pair of Shidos apiece.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the danger part. When you go into defensive mode, just a little bit too early, and that's exactly what can happen.
And there's a first attack there by Jenna Gibbons. We'll see if she can keep the pressure on.
Well, definitely struggling out there, and athletes are finding it difficult to breathe.
Yeah, there's a bit thick, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It really is a problem. Oh, Chigari this time. Natalie Powell. Now then, gets a Yuko for it, and this is all. It's going to be all over. Natalie Powell gets the Ippon, and you can see her head down there because I think she realizes that was probably the contest that is going to decide it all. Natalie Powell wins. She goes through to the semi-final, and Gemma Gibbons still has a chance of a medal. Don't forget that Gemma Gibbons was the one that beat Natalie Powell to the Olympic place in London, came away with the silver medal. They're the best of friends, these two, and they train together, so, I mean, there's no love lost. I mean, they are really good friends, and they find it difficult, but, when you're out there, there's no love lost, is there?
Well, I mean, you have that case with Jerby and Agbenino. They're really good friends, but it's probably harder with Powell and Gibbons because they are fighting for one slot for the Olympics.
Yeah, well, I think that might have just decided it. this quarterfinal. Then let's cover this, because Aguirre is obviously the favourite with Harrison for the Olympic title. Mayra Aguirre of Brazil against Victoria Turks of the Ukraine.
Yeah, I think everyone's really jonesing for that fight. They really want to see that happen.
16 times they fought each other. Can you believe that? 16 head-to-heads, Aguirre. And
Aguirre was ahead after, was it Paris, and then Harrison tied it up at the Pan Americans. So
yeah, she got it back, and by Ippon as well. So yeah, it's your guess, anybody's guess. Certainly coming back onto form, Aguirre. She was away with an injury, and now coming back just at the right time. She's got home advantage, of course, so that's going to be good.
Brazilian women kind of had a tough time with it, because Altamont also had, I believe, a knee injury, and she was out for a bit and sort of is coming back now.
Well, we were just talking about it, Sheldon and I, yesterday, saying that they're not having the best tournament here, the Brazilians. It doesn't look quite right. But bad dress rehearsal, good performance, so let's hope it's that way for them.
Just make it a training match.
Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to. I mean, a lot of people are training through this event. They're not using it. They're not peaking for it. You'd be silly to peak for this particular event and then miss out at the Olympic Games.
Yep, keep your eyes on the big prize.
That's it, exactly. I forget which one you used yesterday. You came out with a cracker yesterday.
I think it was flight time for the spectators and back time for the referees.
I like that one.
Or the landing for the referees, something along those
it.
lines. All right. Well, so far, no score yet, and no Shido.
Well, she looked to me as if she had an inside grip on the sleeve there, Aguirre.
And as soon as I say no Shido, of course they get one. This always happens.
Well, it was just at the right angle for me, so I just noticed that she had the inside grip.
Well, you know, I like that combination. I was just going to say Aguirre is known for having a nice uchimata, but I like that she went in for the kouchi there as a combination.
Yeah, uchimata kouchi combination. Gets the wazari. Well, it looks like we're going to have a 17th head-to-head a little bit later on, though at least it looks that way anyway.
Well, Turks has some different ideas.
Well, they're on the sleeves, aren't they? On the sleeves a lot, you know, and sometimes it's defensive. They've got to use it. If they're on the sleeves, they've got the dominant grip. They've got to use it.
You can see that they're a little bit of an oblique angle there, not quite like Pavia does with her opponents there, but they have to come across them with the hips and cover a lot of distance to do that.
Well, she's got time, 1 minute 33. Just needs to dominate the sleeve but attack off it, not just hold it down, and that's the whole idea of that penalty that was given. And that's going to be a Shido for Turks, isn't it? Just dropping there, no rotation. I think she'll get it when she stands up.
I like the way the referee let that continue into the Newaza there. Very good heads up there.
Yeah, it was. He played the advantage, and that's good to see. Is she going to go on to the arm? I would if I were her.
Sounds like a rugby referee. Right.
So this will be interesting to see if Victoria Turks gets the Shido, even though it happened about 30 seconds ago. She doesn't. She gets away with it. .51 seconds left. We're into the last minute.
Aguirre cruising a little bit. She's got the 2 penalties, but Turks is not really pushing it, so she can afford to sort of hang on.
Well, it's left to right here, and that's what makes the sleeve grip so much more important, because she has it, and very defensive, isn't she, Aguirre? She's not taking any chances with that.
I like what you have to say about the importance. I know I fight lefty these days, and trying to get the opponent's sleeve is so difficult.
Well, it always is. It's always the biggest problem, left against right, and it's That's why the Koreans, of course, they don't have a lot of problems with that. They go to the lapel and then high lapel with the other hand. It's not so important to them. And same with the Mongolians, of course. The Mongolians can go underneath the armpits, over the top of the back. So not so important to them. So that was just let the time just tick away, and no time left. Aguiar is through to the semi-final, but not looking as sharp as I saw a couple of weeks ago.
So, for your average judoka at home, if you've got a left versus right situation, you're not going in that direction of using the, let's say, unorthodox gripping. Would you advise that they get the sleeve grip first and then take the
It all
grip?
depends. It's all about body positioning. So sometimes it goes sleeve and then lapel. Sometimes it will go lapel sleeve. If it goes lapel sleeve, then you have to attack the front leg, the leg that's forward, which is why we talk about attacking different flanks. So if we attack the different flanks, the whole idea is to try and get our partner to readjust their body position so that we've got a better angle to catch the sleeve. So it's all about body angles and body positioning.
What do you think about the idea of, say, getting the double collar grip and then feeding the one collar into the sleeve?
Well, absolutely, and that's what the Koreans are doing at the moment. So they can go on the sleeve or they can go off the lapel. Let's just pull this back then to the Iliadis quarter-final here. Iliadis in yet another quarter-final, and well, don't write this man off for the Olympic Games. It'll be his 4th Olympic Games. He is an absolute superstar, and he's against Zank of Slovenia.
I think perhaps a few folks might have written him off for the top of the podium, but then he came firing back at Chelyabinsk.
Well, absolutely, that's what I say. You can't write him off. He just has such amazing judo, and he is a warrior. And the experience, the amount of experience he's got. 3-time world champion, Olympic champion. He was Olympic champion at 17, 18 years of age. I mean, absolutely, he's a monster. There's Uchimata there. Almost
got a Yuko, yeah.
Almost. It didn't quite have the sleeve.
Now, so he gets the Athens title in 2004, and that was at the lighter weight class, right, 81s. And then he goes up to 90. How much over the years do you think he's lost a step in terms of speed or anything like that?
Well, it was just a couple of years ago that he won his 3rd world title, and he looked fantastic in that, But I think it's probably not his fantastic performances are not as consistent as they were. A part of that is because people know him now and they know what to expect. They're starting to defend against it, and part of it, of course, is motivation. How many times, can you, up your game to win the major titles? And it's very, very difficult, and that's why these consistent champions are the great champions.
We were looking at some stats before, and there's one person out here. Well, actually, he was eliminated, but one person who made the draw for this year's Masters who's been here longer than Iliadis. Can you guess who that might be?
I'll have a little think about it. Let me think about it. In the men.
In the men. There we go. That's a good hint. If you want a second hint, I'll give it to you.
No, you don't need to. I'll think about it for a second, and then I'll have it.
You got some great matches also on mat number 1. We're sticking here with Iliadis, but Lucas Kapelic is up against Armenteros of Cuba. So you folks can choose either mat 1 or mat 2. We're going to stick with mat 1 for a little bit here. But, Neil, if you feel that you want to check out Mr. Kapelic, let me know.
No, I think we'll stay with Iliadis. Iliadis fighting to get to yet another major semi-final. He really needs this, and he needs it because going into the Olympic Games, I mean, he's had a couple of poor performances where he's lost first round or second round, and so he really needs this. And you can see it's not quite as dominant as he has been, but looking for the Ippon.
There
Look
we
at
go.
that. Oh, Aramaki Komi.
Wazadi, he's getting the effort, but I wouldn't be surprised if they take a look at the video. Gary Takemoto calls it Wazadi. There's no challenge to that call.
No, he's still got to hold on to this. But brilliant stuff from Iliadis.
Well, as I referred to before, I really want to see an Iliadis Baker match. That's the one I got to see. I think.
Well, it just might be on the cards, that one.
think, was it Astana? It was lining up like that, and I think Baker went out early. It was either Astana or Chelyabinsk, one of those two.
Well, it might be on the cards here now. Just got to hold off, though. He's still got a long way to go. Still no penalties. Still looking for the Ippon. Both got the same grip here.
They got the grip they want. Just a matter of who's going to... I was going to say pull the trigger there, but both of them sort of went for it.
Yeah, well, he's fighting well, isn't he, the Slovenian? Really fighting well. He's not afraid of Iliadis, so he's having a go too, trying to score the Ippon.
I like the fact that they've settled in grip, so it's kind of nice that, we're not seeing too much grip fighting and, gives the folks a chance to see some throwing.
Yeah, they're both gripping up. 1 minute 24 left. Iliadis and Wazari ahead. Well, just Kapelic Armenteros. Armenteros is a Cuban that's come up as a real threat in the minus 100 kilos category of Cuba. And fighting the former world champion, just one Shido apiece on their mat. Back to Iliadis. Up to Zank to go forwards. Trying to get the arm over the top. Iliadis also trying to get the arm over the top.
Yeah, he really likes that sort of deep collar grip. Kind of can draw his opponent's torso in.
Well, look at the left hand of Iliadis there, right in the rib cage of Zank, just to stop him from rotating in. But you're not coming in here.
Yeah, even if he's lost a step in the pace, the experience he's gained over this long time period.
Almost overreached there, didn't he? Just a massive reaching Osoto. Just almost came unstuck. 38 seconds left. Iliadis now on the retreat.
There's no Shidos on the board at all, so he can actually afford to be a bit passive if he chooses.
Well, he just stepped out.
So Iliadis picks up the one Shido, now he picks up a second Shido. With 10 seconds left, I don't think he's going to get another pair, so safe to say that he's going to go through here. He definitely should pick up the third for that last exchange.
Yeah, he was definitely on the retreat there. A little coughing fit I had there, so excuse me for that. But my coach here...
Don't worry, we had the cough button going.
I just had a little towel down and a massage and a slurp of water, and I'm good to go. Iliadis through then.
Yeah. All right, and I'm going to take a bit of a break, and Sheldon's going to come in. Maybe you guys can slip over to that mat number 1 with the Kapelic.
Thanks very much, David. Now that Neil has recovered and has got his breath back, we'll get back underway. Coming up next, Mamadali Mediev of Azerbaijan faces Hussein Khalmuzayev of Russia. It'll be Mediev in the white judogi and Hussein Khalmuzayev in blue. I make a point of highlighting Hussein because he's got a twin brother called Hassan who fights in the under 81 kilo category. He's the current European champion. He's not here, so...
And he's the one most likely to go to the games as well.
Yeah,
we think anyway, don't we?
Yeah, he's got that. He's got that air about him, and the Russians, irrespective of how close they want to play their cards to the chest, when you've got someone who spanks everybody at the Europeans, so everyone's looking at him, and we've seen the others here.
No, well, it was just one fight for third yesterday, wasn't there? Yeah. They had 3 in the category.
I wasn't overly impressed. The only other person that's missing is Ivan Nifontov, and given the games that Ezio Gamba is notorious for playing, it could be that he's on steaming hot form and he's holding him back and not letting anybody
and we don't know about it.
but I don't think
No,
so.
I don't think so either.
You know, I'll throw that one out there. Hassan Khalmuzaev, for me, appears to be the man in the driving seat, and we should look forward to seeing him. Now, Medvedev and Khalmuzaev Hussein are battling it out away in the under 90 kilo category quarterfinal, but Idalis Ortiz of Cuba, the current Olympic champion, is on the mat against Maria Suelen Altman of Brazil. Now, I've got no doubt that the Brazilians are going to send Altman. Well, they don't have to send her very far, but she's going to be their choice, and it will be Ortiz, the current Olympic champion, that we're going to get to see in Rio, because the Cubans ain't sending anybody else. So maybe we should wander down there and have a look.
Well, I would do, because Ortiz is just hitting quite good form. She's winning most of the events she's in, actually, at the moment. Just at the right time, the Olympic champion will be the defending Olympic champion going into the Olympics there. Beautiful. Yoko Satamiwaza there.
Couldn't quite get the turn at the end, but nice shape to that in the beginning. There's no accident there. This is planned. She plants that foot, that right leg. It's really nice work.
Beautiful. Yoko Wakari, it was a beautiful one.
Suelen Anthem trying to claim that she had some control at the end.
Worth a try.
There's always one, isn't there? You know. No score yet. 2:20 odd left to go. I've said it on so many occasions. The gold medal in the plus 78 kilo category is shared between 3 countries: Cuba, China and Japan. And we've got the Cuban representative here. We've got the Japanese pick, Yamabe. She's here.
So we're just missing the Chinese.
We're just missing the Chinese.
Number 2, Ma Sisi is here instead. The world champion left at home, but they're both world ranked 1 and 2. Actually, are they still ranked 1 and 2 now?
Well,
it's either 1 and 2 or 1 and 3.
See, this is the thing. You've got 2 highly, 1 and 3. So the Chinese are in that position of luxury of being able to decide who it is that they're going to send. They can either send the world number 1, or they can send the world number 3. Now, Ma, oddly enough, when you look, if you just looked at points, Ma has got 2,172 points. If you can remember that big number, let's call it 2,100. Yu Song has got 35. I mean, she's way, way, way above as far as the points are concerned. The closest person to her is 1,000 points behind. 1,000 points behind.
Yeah.
2,500.
Big difference.
And that is Idalis Ortiz. Now, what that suggests to me is consistency. She doesn't miss, and if she does, she gets close to the target. So it's a bronze or a silver. She's always there. Ma can get knocked out in round 1. So can Ortiz. We've seen her go out without hitting the podium.
Well, certainly it's about consistency, isn't it, at the Olympic Games? That's for sure.
Whilst we've got that around, what we could do is just have a look. If we look at their results, we can see what they've come up with.
Just back here quickly. Yeah. Last 30 seconds here. Ortiz just ahead. Althamam has 2 penalties. Dropped Sianagi there from Ortiz. She probably will hold on to this, but it's a very close match.
She just threw that last little Seonagi in, and that may be enough. Certainly not to pick up a passivity penalty in the last teens, in the seconds. She just doesn't want to get penalised for avoiding to take a grip, blocking out. There's so many. Take a drop, step out. There's so many things that you can get wrong here.
Well, especially in the last minute. They're looking out for it particularly now, because we know that they run. So Ortiz is through. She's through to the semi-final. The Olympic champion yet again. Consistent. But I think you're right. Sometimes she makes mistakes, and she makes more mistakes than Yu Song, who's going to be the representative for the Chinese, I think, at the Olympic Games. The only one that's not here that's going to be at the Olympic Games from the heavyweights.
You know, when you look at Ortiz and you see a 7th, a 5th, a miss out, another 7th, you know, those sorts of things, there are some small inconsistencies. Let's call it some small inconsistencies. I want to have a look at Yu Song and just see how many times, if we just have a quick look at those results. And, you know, it's 1-3, 5-3, 1 just missed out, 1-2-2. You know,
Always
she's
there.
on that podium. You know,
Yeah.
it's the podium things all the time. 1-1, 1-3, 1-3, 5. Okay, she just missed out the podium. 3-1, missed out completely. 1-2-2, just too many. She's racking them up.
Yeah, I mean, it gives us a chance to have a look at Ma Sisi, world rank 3. Can you imagine that, being world rank number 3 and probably not going to go to the Olympic Games?
Well, that isn't that the situation for Kusha Steenhuis of the Netherlands, who finds herself in the odd position of being in. She came in here as the number 2 seed. She's in the semi-final of the Masters, and she ain't going.
Yeah, and, it's a
Don't
difficult one.
start on that one again.
No, again, you know, it's why not just leave it right to the end and send the one that's got to stand the better chance. You know, that's what we've said, isn't it, all the way along. But she's been consistent. And Ma Sisi here, just in the Yujiro Kesugatami. I don't think that Ceballos is going to go too far away from there.
Yeah, Tessie is the lightest fighter in the weight category at 96 kilos. Just at the edge there, she maybe wrapped her leg round, but I don't think it's going to make any difference. Ma Sisi wins her way through to the semi-final of the plus 78 kilo category. I'd be so pleased if Tessie Savakouls could pick up a medal here, and there's still a chance. You'll have to go down into the repechage contest. Neil was talking about that over the last couple of days. If they lose in the quarterfinal, then they go down into the repechage. There is a contest there, and if they win that, then they go into the repechage final. So that's the bronze medal match, and the winner of that will take a medal. Just the flash of the purple here. What is that, purple?
It's all the style in China. There's the Harai Makikomi, and just keeps hold of that sleeve. Look at the pull on the sleeve there. Just needs to take that leg out, and other leg comes up there. It's just a matter of time.
On mat number 1 now, the first of the quarterfinals in the plus 100 kilo category. The expectant, the man of the moment, Harazawa Hisayoshi of Japan faces Daniel Natia of Romania. It's Harazawa in the white judogi, Natia in blue, and Harazawa didn't disappoint us in his opening contest this morning when he spanked his opponent with a beautiful uchimata and then moved straight into the osaiwaza and finished off neatly. So there he is, Neil.
Well, it's interesting that the great Yamashita was interviewed and said that the contest he's looking forward to at the Olympic Games mostly is Harazawa and René. They've never met before, and he thinks that if any surprise at any tournament is going to happen, it's at the Olympic Games. He's right, of course. We'll see.
I'm not going to get anywhere near involved in any conversation to correct Yamashita. He knows what he's talking about. And it's what we all expect. You know, the Games will be the place where you've got the greatest concentration and the biggest amount of nerves.
And the most to lose. The most to gain
yeah.
and the most to lose. And I think that's the big thing, is that there's no in-between with the Olympic Games. You've either got a lot to lose or you've got everything to gain. Everybody's watching and everybody's judging.
Harazawa, oddly enough, is giving away how much? He came in here at 122. Natia up there at 178.
Well, I think, you know, I think we have to say, don't we, that the heavyweights is the only time that we're actually saying anything about the weights. But it does make a difference, and it makes the difference when you're trying to execute big, massive uchimatas. And you can see that. Natia there just pulling the head down. Harazawa having a real job to find the line for the uchimata. And if you have a look at how tall Natia is, he's just probably just a little bit out of range. You'll have to get it perfectly right, Harazawa, to take him up and over the top with the uchimata. You'll really have to get it right.
The only other thing that could help Harazawa is if Natia moved a little bit and he moved on to him.
Yeah, any kind of spinning Uchimata, a little bit of a spin to it, a little bit of a rotation will do it. Either that or a big O-Uchi and then a movement in. And I think a direct movement in might be just a little bit difficult. Because he can throw as well, Natia.
I wouldn't want to be on the end of an Osodagari for him. I think that the biggest person I'd ever been on with, not through design but purely by accident, because that was the way the numbers worked out at the practice. It wasn't a club that had lots of fighters, it was Wolverhampton. So you'd go there and there might be 10 or 12 on the mat. So at some stage you were going to go on with the big boys. And I thought Dennis Stewart was big, but Elvis Gordon, the late Elvis Gordon, was even bigger. And, you know, they would call it a pull. Okay, I'll have a little pull. You know, and he would just ask you to run him around as much as you could.
Well, he did pull you.
Yeah, he did. The thing was,
if you're there and everywhere.
But if you pulled him too hard, then you'd get a slap. So you had to work out just how hard not to pull.
Yeah, I had some great pulls with Elvis. I really did. Well, that just did it all for me there. Harasawa there, just not got the range for this kind of size. And he's going to find the same when he fights Renair, I feel.
He's not moving him enough.
Well, he just needs a bit more variation. The Uchimata won't be enough. I remember the first time I saw Harasawa and I thought, well, beautiful Uchimata. He won all the way through with it, but actually he hasn't got enough variation. I mean, this man here, Kosei, the great Kosei Inui, he had a Seoinage, he had other techniques, he had great Ashiwaza as well. He had such variations off the Sodi, off the sleeves. So, I mean, I think that Harasawa, we haven't seen him use anything much more than the Uchimata.
Natia's not going to be the quickest fighter, you know, off the blocks, is he? You know, he's going to be slow to move because he's just got so much bulk to move around. And I don't think Harasawa has sold the idea that Natia is static. I don't think he sold that to the mat official. You want to make the mat official think that you're busy, you're doing all the work, changing the grips, moving him a little bit. You don't have to produce a great deal, and the referee's going to say, hang on a minute, you know, Mate and Natia will pick up a penalty. There's the Oichigari that Neil's talking about, and then the attempted Uchimata off it. He was off balance, he got taken back, and now he's really up against it now.
Wow, Natia now, Wazari ahead there, and he just crumpled that Uchimata, didn't he? Just took him over, and he didn't have an answer for it at all. He's in all sorts of problems here. 45 seconds to go. He's going to need an Ippon here, and, well, he just overbalanced. He got tipped the wrong way. Beautiful stuff there from Natia.
That was a nice driving effort there. He then tries to change it for the Uchimata, realises that he's off balance, and before he can correct it, Natia takes him back.
Wow, he's in trouble now, isn't he? Now what's he going to do? 35 seconds to go. He's got to really open up. And there's the Ashiwaza that we were just talking about there. Why he didn't do it beforehand, I don't know.
Unbeaten in 2 years, Harasawa. And he's about to lose that now.
16 seconds to go. Oh, he's taking him. Oh, Harasawa goes down. And, well, what can you say? You know, I think Teddy Riner will be watching this live and he'll be going, well, yeah, that's good for me. I think that will fill him with confidence, Teddy Riner, because he wouldn't have liked the idea of coming up against Harasawa, having not fought against him, but wow. Yeah, back to the drawing board, and yeah, it is. It's I think the Japanese now, I think Mr. Yamashita will have something to think about, and I think it is. Absolutely. Sheldon just written something down here in front of me saying it's back to the drawing board for the Japanese and the heavyweights, and I really believe he's right.
Look at this record. How do you give up a record like that? You beat absolutely everybody in the category. You give a beating. You come to the World Masters, you've got Natia in front of you, and all the expectation of not just the audience in here and us as, pundits or commentators. You've got everybody at home hoping that you can come up with something that will test, the big man Rinne, and you get whacked.
Well, it's not just a Wazari, it's a massive Ippon as well.
We didn't have to wait for Rio for an upset.
We certainly didn't. Wow. Maya and Sasson, we've got a good little battle going on here in the plus 100s in the other quarter-final.
Let's not take anything away from Natia. When we see that replay, that was super, wasn't it? He really planted him.
He really took the fight to the Japanese, and he expected to do that. Wow.
Leon was just mentioning Roy Meyer or Sasson. It's Meyer in the white judogi, Sasson in blue. They've been going for just about 45 seconds whilst we've been catching up on the super replays, actually, that we had there. There's no score yet. No one's been penalised. Meyer in white, Sasson in blue.
Well, he just did a Sodi Surikomigoshi there and went through the legs of Meyer, but we saw a disqualification in one of the major tournaments with that when he came up and kept hold of the sleeve and did a Teguruma type technique. Oh, look at that. Seoinage here by Sasson. Left and right with the Seoinages. Meyer just manages to squash it. Hasn't he grown in stature, though, Sasson, in the heavyweight division? He's come up now, I think, as a real contender, not just a blown-up minus 100 kilo player.
We had a little bit of a clash, just verbally, with Sasson and Orin Smadja about, whether he should stay at under 100 or plus 100. And I remember Orin saying to him, look, even people who are not on the team are telling you, go up to 100, you'll be better off there, because he fancied, and he had one little try, and then he went back down and realised he's not a natural 100 kilo fighter. He's 110. That's his problem. But he's not a natural heavyweight because he's only got 110 kilos. No, he's managed to put on a little bit now.
It's almost the category in between, isn't it? I always thought that we should have an extra category in the heavy division, all the way from youth right the way to seniors. And look at him. Like you said, 110 kilos. In boxing, they have that category, but not in judo. So we have these great differentials in weight in the heavyweight division. Some might say, well, the open weight tournaments, they're great, but it's not an open weight tournament, it's weight category. Great attempt there from Roy Meyer. Big Soto this time, because Roy Meyer likes the Seoinage, but it's not quite the same kind of Seoinage as Sasson, but that was close. Almost turned into an Oguruma.
Yeah. Sasson managing to avoid getting caught there. Single penalty picked up by Meyer. There's a little over 2 minutes left to go.
One penalty on the board, Roy Meyer. He's got to up the pace. And Sasson keeps going onto that sleeve. We're going to see him swap it over in a second. He's going to go right. That's what he's thinking. That's what he's setting up. So he's gone left, left, left all the time. And then he's just going to pop the right one in. He's looking for the line for it.
Again, this is another fighter, or Sasson, who doesn't want to let the big man settle too much. They don't like moving around. They don't like all that movement, do they?
No, well, Roy Meyer as well. He was a minus 100 kilo player, but he's pumped up and now established himself. He's got medals at Grand Prix, Grand Slam tournaments. So really in there.
Almost in there is our colleague Dennis van der Geest. He's
right in front of us
here. Standing a few metres away. He's moved away from the commentary position. He wants to appear neutral. Oh yeah. The only thing he isn't doing is wearing a Dutch T-shirt. But he's stepped aside, which I think is really nice. He stepped aside to have a look at Roy Meyer, and maybe shout out a few words of encouragement and everything. He can't remove himself completely and be detached from the situation?
Well, I think he gives a lot of advice to Roy Mayer, so it's one of his fighters out there. That wasn't fully rotated there. Is he going to get away with that? He just gets away with that. Sasson.
20-odd seconds left to go. Mayer's got to throw everything at it now.
Yeah, well, I still feel we're going to see the switch of sides from Sasson. Is he going to do it? 11 seconds to go.
Dennis is left in disgust.
Yeah, it's going to be all over. And
Seen enough.
Sasson goes through to the semi-final. Consistent. And he must be very happy as well, just to see Harasawa there going out.
Yeah, I would.
I think they all are.
See how that would have turned out anyway. Natia is in the semi-final. Harasawa has gone down into the repechage. Kokauri and Kambiev, they've got their quarter-final coming up. Mayer's just lost out to Sasson, so it'll be Sasson in the lower half of that semi-final. And just before we come to the repechage contest in the under 78 kilo category, I'm going to tell you quickly, Kayla Harrison will fight Natalie Powell of Great Britain in the first of the semi-finals. The second semi-final is Husha Steenhuis of the Netherlands. She'll face Mayra Aguiar of Brazil. The contest taking place on mat number 1 now is Assunta Gaglioni of Italy. She faces Gemma Gibbons of Great Britain. And the thing that I wanted to say was absolutely all credit to Gemma Gibbons, who had who lost out to Natalie Powell in that quarter-final, and she left the mat with complete and total dignity. There was a handshake, there was the hug and everything, realising, hey, that's probably it now.
Absolutely. I thought it was magnificent the way she handled herself, and that's what a true champion is.
It could have fallen apart with Powell punching the air and all sorts of emotions and things. She didn't. She contained herself. There was a real smile. She put her head in her hands, almost tearful. Gibbons got to her feet. They went back to their position. They bowed. They came, handshake, hug, left the mat. It was really dignified between the two of them when there was absolutely so much at stake.
No, it's absolutely correct. And Gemma Gibbons, let's hope that she can get into the bronze medal position. This is the repechage final. This will take the winner into fight for third place. Remember, this is the World Masters. Any medal here. Top 16 fighting it out. Just 1 or 2 missing through injury.
Sol Kyung, the former world champion. Ulrich Mio from France, a former world champion, and Martin de Verkerk, a former world champion. We've got 2009 it was Martin de Verkerk, 2010 in Paris, 2011 or 13 was it when we were in Brazil, in Rio with Sol Kyung. So, there's a really interesting mix there, because is there enough room for 8 seeds when you look at the quality that we've got here? Harrison, Aguiar here. We won't have the benefit of Husha Steenhuis because they've gone for Mahinda Verkerk, but there's plenty to look at in that under 78 kilo category. Umeki Mami from Japan.
Well, I think once the dust settles from this event, we're going to see the seedings at the Olympic Games, and we're going to see who's going to be seeded in the top 8. And that's what a lot of these athletes here are aiming for. They're aiming for the top 8 placings, automatic seeding, and it's going to make a difference at the Olympic Games. It really is.
And then the last thing I want to mention about the under 78 kilo category, because I know I bang on about these two, 70 and 78, but it's really where you get the nicest balance in women's judo. 70, 78 for me. I love watching those two weight categories. You've got high level skill, but you've got some strength and some power, but you haven't gone over the top with the 78 kilo category, who, we can get a few in there who haven't got the same kind of mobility, as I would put it, at 70 or 78. So the last thing I'm going to mention is a big thank you to Marcus Batten, who corrects me on the pronunciation of Mayra Aguiar's name. Aguiar, rather than Aguiar. So leave out the...
Well, I'm going to do that now
Aguiar
as well, because it's always Aguiar for me, and for me Aguiar too, now it is.
It is. We've taken you on board. Thanks very much for that, Mr. Batten, Marcos Batten. It's nice when the
stand corrected.
Yeah, the viewers tell us a little something, and they don't dig at us too much.
Well, that was a counter-attack there. Gallioni on Gibbons. That was a score for me. I don't know whether they gave it or not, but I thought that was a Yuko.
They're having a look. And we're
Have a
gonna
look at this,
yeah.
look. So Gibbons comes in for a technique.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see the drive there, and just tips her. Oh, my goodness me, that was almost dangerous, wasn't it? Well, was it a score?
Yeah, some part of the scoring part of the body has got to make contact with the mat, whilst Tori has control, and they decided that the shoulder and arm made contact with the mat whilst Gallioni was in control.
Well, she gets the Yuko as
yeah.
well. She got the Yuko. Now, Gibbons on the attack, on the offensive.
They're going to penalise Gallioni, but it's not going to help Gibbons here, because she would have rather had that little bit longer to try and develop something in Tachiwaza throwing ways, but still a penalty picked up by Gallioni. It's the second penalty. Single score here does it for Gibbons. If she can come up with a score, she wins it.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Gallioni definitely on the defensive. Is she going to get a third penalty here? For me, this is where she is just absolutely on the defensive here. Needs to pick up that third penalty fairly quick to ensure that she attacks, because she's just defending. And that for me is a third penalty.
The danger is the 26 seconds. If she really does something silly here, she's going to give this contest away.
Well, there it is. Third penalty up there. 22 seconds.
Oh, and over she goes. In the story. It's done now. And all that backing off. This is what we were talking about. Don't get involved in using up the three Shidos. It's a fighting sport. Stand up there and fight. She's given that contest away because she was using up her get me out of jail free cards with the Shidos, hoping that she would be able to go and take it to the end.
Well, Gemma Gibbons didn't give up, did she?
No.
She just kept coming forward all the time. That was brilliant performance from her. She really dug deep, and that was amazing.
I'm really sorry. I've got no sympathy for Assunta Gallioni in that position. You've done all the hard work. You've gone ahead. You've got the positive score. Why try to back off? Everything was going well for you. Why try to back off and use the three Shidos? You invite your opponent to come on and attack. You pick up a Shido for a drop, Shido for this. And I'm not sure what it is that Daria Romano is going to come over and attempt to complain, but his fighter gave the fight away. She was winning that fight.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I'd like to.
I'm going to go and listen.
You be a fly on the wall. I'll carry on here with the Kayla Harrison, Natalie Powell semi-final. That's just after we just have a look at some of the highlights. We're going to have a look at how Gibbons takes her over there with the Soto Makikomi. Soto Makikomi for the Wazari. I thought Yuko personally, but either way, it was a really good score. She would have won anyway. Of the World Masters.
Yeah,
good
exactly.
Thing, isn't it?
Those are not my words. That's the coach. So frustrated at the fact that his player began to play with Shidos, and it's been a talking point. I know it's being my bonnet at the moment, but she could have taken that. And Gibbons did absolutely what she had to do. She stuck in there right to the end, and then came up with a score.
Oh, that's it. It's all over.
Well,
big hip on there from Harrison.
The referee Vincent Drouot took his time about that. He knows that they're going to review the start point of the execution of that technique, and if there's any part of Harrison's body that's inside the area at the start of that technique, then they're going to keep the hip on, and I can't see that there's anything that they're going to change.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it, now that Powell and both Brits are going to be fighting for third
bronze.
place.
And they'll be in different house because they've already met. Let's have another look at the execution of this.
Big arm over, hips across, and Powell right the way over.
Ooh, know just about that. It's the first movement that's when the technique starts. There's 1 foot left in. She makes another movement as she's completing it, which is off the tatami, but they would have called that in. In the old days when they had the line judge, they'd have said that was in. And I don't think Natalie Powell's going to have any complaints about that. That's a huge ippon.
No, so both of them fighting for third place.
Right, we had a look at the Chinese Ma Se, didn't we? And now Larissa Cherik down on mat number 1 has lost out to Yamabe Kanae. So we're not going to go down there because that was a quarter-final. We'll get to see Yamabe when the semi-finals come up. We've got Cyril Grossklaus on the mat at the moment. He's up against Michal Skank of Slovenia. It's the Swiss fighter, Grossklaus in the white judogi, Skank in blue. But we are actually going to go down to mat number 2 because there's a quarter-final in the plus 100 kilo category. Ushangi Kokauri of Azerbaijan faces Aslan Kambiev of Russia. It'll be Kokauri in the white judogi and Kambiev in blue. I think we may have a battery issue again with our little handheld toy. We'll hang on with Grossklaus and Skank for a moment.
So still on this match, 2 Shidos up to Grossklaus here. Skank has to come forwards. Well, we've got it now. We've got the quarter-final of the plus 100 kilograms. Kokauri in white. Trying to get the arm underneath. Well, that's interesting. Now we're back. I think they're trying to get me going. Grossklaus against Skank. That's the one we're covering. Like Sheldon said, just a little battery problem with our little device that changes the mats. But just bear with us. We'll stay on this mat here. Under 90 kilograms, repechage final. Well, you'll be interested to know, Sheldon, that it changed me back to the plus 100s, then back to the minus 100, minus 90s.
Right, we got it working now.
Just getting me at it.
Right, 2 penalties picked up by Grossklaus. Skank is penalty free in that repechage contest. There's half the contest still to come, but we're going to go down to mat number 2 to have a look at the quarter-final between Ushangi Kokauri of Azerbaijan and Aslan Kambiev of Russia.
I'm not even going to say anything. Oh, look at that. Big ippon there. We've just missed because of the no change, but Kokauri just taking him over. Massive Surigoshi. He was a Yuko up, but now it's ippon.
Okay. We've still got Grossklaus and Skank at the moment. We've got Baker Masu coming up next, the Japanese to face Ilias. That should be a good one. Stick around here. Whoa, nice effort there from Skank.
It's a big Seoinage this time. Skank gets a Wazari for it. Big Seoinage there, standing Seoinage. Look at that, up and away. Controls the shoulder and didn't quite get the shoulders, both the shoulders hitting the ground at the same time.
You know, it's the second really nice standing Seoinage we've seen. We saw one yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic there from the American in the semi-final.
Oh, yeah, Travis Stevens.
Travis Stevens.
That's right. I was trying to remember who it was.
Well, Grossklaus got it all to do now. Grossklaus comes forwards. Looking for the Uchimata, Grosklaus.
Time running out here, a little over half a minute left to go for the Swiss fighter.
Like you said, the great Iliadis just about to come on, and that should be a great matchup with Baker Masu following this match. Big arm over the top again, Grosklaus. Got to attack now. He's only got about 20 seconds left. Now's the time. Second penalty, to Zhigank.
Zhigank, was it earlier, who gave Iliadis a bit of a scare, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Fought him well. Zhigank it is. He'll be fighting for the bronze.
A 7th place finish for Cyril Grosklaus at the World Masters. It's not that bad. You know, it's a good effort from him, and he looked good as well. He's got some nice judo, the Swiss fighter. Now, Borbana is involved in a quarter-final on mat 2 against Faisal Jabala of Tunisia. The Tunisian has picked up 2 penalties. There's half a minute left to go. That's the state of things in the plus 100 kilo category, quarter-final down on mat number 2. But we're going to pay attention to the contest coming up on mat number 1. It features Baker Masu of Japan. He's up against Ilias Iliadis of Greece. It's the semi-final in the under 90 kilo category. It'll be Baker in the white judogi and Iliadis in blue.
Yeah, well, the still seeing the highlights of the Seoinage there, but Iliadis and Baker. The quicker we get back onto them, the better, because it's a really big match. This could well be a deciding match at the Olympic Games. It's very important for Iliadis. Semi-final, major one. Is he going to get ground down by Baker? There's Baker in white, Iliadis in blue.
Single Shido picked up by the Japanese in that first 40 seconds. He just pushed the left hand down there a little bit low for my liking. You don't want to be flirting around with the, anything that's below the belt.
Well, no, it's immediate Hon Sokomaki, of course, and can't afford that. He knows how dangerous. He can feel the danger there of Iliadis. Reputation precedes him, of course it does. 3-time world champion. So now they both get one, so two up to Baker. Can't afford too many of them. One more and he'll be under so much pressure to attack.
It's all about the tempo with Baker and Wolf as well in the under 100 kilo category. They're very similar fighters as far as their idea of how quickly they need to do things, and it's not unusual for them to pick up penalties early on.
Wazari scored there for Baker. Baker thinks it's Ippon, but it was a driving Ouchi. Have they changed it? It might just be an Ippon here. Let's just have a look how Iliadis lands. I thought it was a Wazari for sure.
I think it's Wazari.
Well, he looks kind of injured, and I said at the beginning of this tournament, I hope that Iliadis doesn't get injured in this match. Beautiful driving Ouchi there. Iliadis holding his rib afterwards, but now he's got it all to do.
When they show the replay, you just look at the position. Two things. You look at the position of Vladimir Nidka, the referee, and then you look to see how much of Mexico, Greece, and whatever else it says on there, Ilias Iliadis, how much of that you can see, and then you can tell whether it's Wazzari or Ippon.
Well, he just got taken over, didn't he, there for a Yuko as well, Iliadis. Just taken change of direction from Baker, and Baker is just stamping all over him, and he's holding his rib there.
This is the Yuko score. Just rolled him over, didn't he? A little turn there to add.
It was Tewaza, wasn't it? It really was. He just changed the direction. All over Iliadis. Iliadis trying to just trying to get it all together, isn't he? He's just tying his belt. It's a long walk to the middle. A long belt tie. Trying to assess the opposition here. Wazzari and Yuko down. And they're only just over 2 minutes, two and a quarter minutes into this match.
Plenty of time to come.
And Baker wanting to get on with it. That makes it even worse.
Yeah, he's sizing up a quick finish here.
Well, I agree with you. I think that he really just wants this all over, and he wants to get off and prepare for the final. Brilliant performance from Baker, this. Got to watch that, though. You were right before. You know, if he grabs the legs, wouldn't that be a big thing? On Sokomaki for touching the legs.
That's untidy, isn't it? You know, he felt the strength of Iliadis there.
No, he's going to get third penalty here now. Now he's under pressure because he's got 2 minutes to hold on to that. And Wazzari and Yuko down. Could he possibly? I mean, to be disqualified, being a Wazzari and Yuko down. A bit of panic in the coach's chair there as well.
Well, they've already seen Harazawa go over. They don't want to see Baker Masu go out as well. He's flirting with that belt as well. How long has he... Oh, he just took his hand off there.
Well, they're both looking for the Soto Makikomi and looking for the same technique. I think that maybe Iliadis will blow before, but look at that. He's blowing there. Baker Masu is blowing a little bit.
He gave plenty at the front end of the contest, didn't he?
1 minute 35 to not get a Shido. A little bit of a shame to have to say that, especially after...
That's okay, that's the situation.
Yeah,
We'd like to talk about scores, but that is looming large there. I know, I mean, the minute you said it, I thought, we shouldn't really be talking about Shidos, but that's what's on the board. And the Baker Masu has been the one responsible for putting them there. Mind you, he has put Yuko and Wazzari on as well.
Well, yeah, and Iliadis now looking for the Uranagi because he does that one as well. Referee giving the benefit of the doubt. It's into the last minute. Great match. We knew it was going to be great.
Yeah.
A bit too near the edge, though, isn't he, Baker? There.
Good turn.
Iliadis fighting right to the end here. Not giving this up easy.
Yeah, he's going to have no choice. He's going to penalise both of them.
Well, this could cost Baker the final.
Oh, it's Iliadis who gets called for.
Well, I don't know if I agreed with that. You know, that was both. And the crowd, you know, you were saying about the crowd being a well-educated crowd here, and they are. They knew that as well. Baker holding on here. 20 seconds to go.
There are going to be plenty of boos there.
Iliadis coming forward. He looks as if he's in control here. Is a Wazzari and a Yuko down. One Shido would cost Baker Masu the match. But he has to attack. He just a quick look up at the clock there. I saw it. and trying to just hold off, and he does. Well, he is sucking dust off the rafters, I can tell you that. Oh, my goodness. A great match. Iliadis did, well, he had to come forwards, but wow. A Yuko and a Wazari up, and he almost lost the match.
I think if they look back at this contest, they're going to see a couple of things in there that maybe allowed Baker Massey to get the benefit of the doubt. There was a little step out there, there was the timing of the passivities, and then there was definitely a point where he broke off the grip with both hands. So,
Yeah, well, he was being forced to cross grip.
Yeah.
He was being forced to drop. He was too close to the edge.
He got the benefit of the doubt. We're just going to go down to mat number 2 quickly.
Well, we just had a quick look there. It just showed him breaking the grip off with his leg. That was a Shido offence, if not a Hon Sokomaki one. I don't know if we'll see it from a different angle. No, we're just seeing the score there. The Yuko, that was the Wazari from the Ouchi.
Actually, with only 17 or so seconds left down in the Husha Steinhaus Myra Aguiar semi-final, we're not going to go down there at all. We'll just stick with this. That's the highlights from the Baker Massey Ilias Iliadis contest. It's not up to Baker Massey to give out the scores. Maybe they'll have a word with him and say, we'll let you know what's a Yuko or Wazari or a Nippon. But he fancied himself as a referee at that point.
Well, Aguiar just won the semi-final, so it was a Wazari on the board there. Wazari and a Yuko.
Right, on the mat now, Lis Bouyakoub of Algeria. He faces Michael Corel of the Netherlands. That's a repechage contest in the under 100 kilo category. Bouyakoub in the white judogi, Corel in blue.
Well, we've got Corel. Surprised a few, hasn't he, at some of the Grand Prix, Grand Slams? He has. But so is Bouyakoub as well, because he can throw. Minute and a half gone. No penalties, so both attacking within the allotted time. I don't know whether it's 20 to 30 seconds or 30 to 40 now. It's kind of elongated, hasn't it? The time difference, or the amount of time given that you've got to attack within.
Yeah, 20 seconds is what sticks in my memory as being the amount of time a referee will allow you to go without putting in what they class as a determined attack. 20 seconds, but we got so many sharp referees who watch. No doubt they'll inundate us with messages now to tell us exactly what that time is.
Well, I don't think anybody knows, to tell you the truth. And I think if you asked all of the referees up there, it varies. It really does. I think it started off very, very strict for the Shido, and it was anything from 20 to 25 seconds, and then it went 20 to 30, and now it's 30 to 40 seconds. Still no score halfway through.
Marcus Niemann of Sweden is on the adjoining mat against Mamadali Mediev of Azerbaijan in their repechage contest. There's no score in that one either, and Mediev has just picked up the single Shido. We're coming, pretty quickly to the close of the first part of the day. Probably wrap this up by half past 2. I thought another half an hour, because we've got semi-final contest here, repechage contest going on.
Of course, we're talking half 2 Mexican time.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
But for everybody out there who's going to stay with us for the final block, our final block starts at 5 o'clock. All the medal matches now all on live TV, and also it's the live broadcast as well. So it's a double broadcast with Sheldon and I.
Almost came up with that right-sided effort there. Just couldn't turn the top half of the body, could he? Corral. Neiman has gone ahead by Yuko now, down on mat number 1 in his repechage contest. Be nice to see him on the podium. That was my prediction this morning with David McFall, Neiman and Axel Clerget to find the podium.
Well, Clerget and Kalmazeev semi-final coming up after this Neiman-Medvedev match. He has had quite a few weeks, hasn't he, Clerget? He's really come through.
Strong boy. You know, nice judo. The French, from time to time, have fighters, because they've got the numbers, you know, they make a selection. They say, right, we're going to go with that one. But then there's always someone in the background there who's picking up points and scoring and whatever. And Alexander Ider is their go-to guy at this weight. There's zero chance that they're going to change that. You know, that's who they like at the under 90 kilo category. And when you look at what he's done and where he's ranked and everything, he's in the top 10 in the world. It's difficult to push him out, despite the fact that other countries have made different decisions. Clerget's down there at 18.
But this would make a massive difference, wouldn't it? 700 points here. Where would that put him?
Yeah, well, put him ahead of
Exactly.
Ider.
Yeah.
That would be the headache for the French if they then had to make a selection. I mean, Clerget, after his last competition, went up 12 places. You know, 1, 2, 3 or 5 is you know, but 12. He was up 12 places. This could take him up another.
He's just about to step on. I'm just wondering whether we should just drift over there. Just the Clerget-Kalmazeev match just about to happen. I mean, it is a really important match, isn't it, for Clerget? If he gets to the final of this, it's 420 points or it's 700 points, like you say. It could give the French a real hard problem, a real hard time.
Yeah, let's see if we can get our chief to take us down to mat number 2, because our little gadget has a mind of its own today. We're down on mat number 2 now, the semi-final in the under 90 kilo category between Axel Clerget of France in the white judogi and Hussein Kalmuzaev of Russia in blue. It's the kind of headache that you probably don't mind having, is it?
Great to have depth in any category, and if you can send them head to head, you know, they don't like it, never do. From a team manager's point of view, it's something you have to do. The players don't like it. Oh, Harai Makikomi there. Quick Clerget, he's really on good form at the moment, very, very sharp. Got a great Tominagi as well. Shido for pulling his jacket out, I think. I don't know quite what he was doing there. Kalmazeev.
Silly arm penalty to give away, that one, really.
We've seen it a couple of times. At this level, it shouldn't happen. Certain things ducking underneath the grip. Sometimes, we saw it yesterday, I think, 2 penalties given within 5 or 10 seconds. Oh, somebody look at
beautiful.
That. Massive Uranagi. Yeah. That was huge. Oh, my goodness me. He just had no answer to that, did he, Clerget? The arm came over. It was a Harborelli pickup. But I think without the leg, just without taking the leg, so slightly...
modified,
yeah. Modified, a modified version of it.
It was a super technique. Really was. I was just thinking that Hassan, the brother, was the more explosive, and then Hussein comes up with that.
Well, that takes him into the final here at the World Masters. What a pair. Well, shame we couldn't see a replay of that, but never mind.
No, the Chief's got that coming. He's a good man.
Oh,
He's just in the process. They get close, so it's okay. Clerget can hug him from this position because he's already got the arm over, so there's no problem with going in for the bear hug. But before he can develop that, Karl Musev feels it and executes. He does have the leg up there. You're right.
He did have
Look.
the leg up. It was.
Yeah.
It was
That's
the
the classic Carbarelli. You're right. And look at-
Beautifully executed. I mean, it's the absolute commitment. Look at the head go back. Head goes back, uses the leg, and the head determines direction. Brilliantly done.
I always like to look at the support leg, that gives you that strength. Just look at Karl Musev's left leg. He gets it in absolutely the right place. So when he needs that power, he's got all that strength in there. He's lifting 90 kilos on one leg. Look.
Yeah, and like you said, absolutely correct. He got it absolutely central, and that's what he needed.
Beautiful. And everything else comes from that. You've got the power base to work from. He bends at the knee nice and low, lifts with the right leg. The arms are all working good. And, of course, Clerget is also helping him a little bit because he fancied going in that direction anyway with the bear hug. Oh, dear. Unravelled for Axel Clerget in that semi-final. We'll see him in the bronze medal contest, but in the final it'll be Hussein Karl Musev. We didn't have the pleasure of the company of his brother. Didn't matter. His twin came and stepped in for him. We're watching the semi-final now on mat number 1 between Elmar Gazimov of Azerbaijan. He faces Martin Pacek of Sweden. We've already had a couple of minutes of this one. There's a single penalty picked up by Martin Pacek. It's Gazimov in the white judogi, Pacek in blue.
Well, Pacek has upset a few people, hasn't he? He's got the Tominagi, him and his brother. Both of them are real spoilers. I have to say that. But
he's okay with that, by the way. I've said it to him before.
Right.
You haven't got the prettiest judo. He said, I don't care, I like to win.
Well, fair enough, and he does.
Yeah.
People get very frustrated fighting him and then drops for his Tominagi. Don't forget that he's fighting Gazimov here. Gazimov in the top 5 world rankings, and he's getting frustrated. Pacek, though, is the one that has got the 2 Shidos on the board. Well, yeah, there he is. Gazimov is the world number 1, world ranked anyway, number 1. That's a slight difference for the people out there that don't know the difference. I mean, they are the most consistent. That's why they've got the number 1 ranking. But Pacek there down in 8. So both of them, obviously fighting, certainly Pacek fighting to get well within that top 8 for his world rankings at the Olympic Games, or for his Olympic ranking, should we say. Well, he's got to move his opponent with that Tominagi. Any kind of sacrifice, you have to move your opponent, otherwise it's a penalty.
Pacek's picked up 2 penalties to date. We've still got a minute 40 odd left to go. Struggling to get to his feet. I'm not sure what he said to Edison Minakawa. I don't think Minakawa speaks Swedish, and I don't think Pacek speaks Portuguese, so
I wondered what he was going to say then. Oh, Uchimata! Oh, he latched onto that, didn't he? Almost made a mistake there, Gazimov. Yeah, just put his hand down to stop that. No rotation. That's why you need the sleeve. Well, Gazimov just ahead in this match. 1 minute 21 left. Pacek is going to come forwards, that's for sure. Yoko Sotemiwaza, Gazimov. Just Looking for the turn there, and no way with that leg there sticking out of Pasic. Just over a minute. Patrick comes forwards. Ouchigari looking for the Uchimata now. Sumigaeshi this time from Patrick.
A minor delay on the adjoining mat in the repechage contest in the under 100 kilo category between Armenteros and Darwish, the Cuban and the Egyptian, as they decide whether or not the technique executed by Armenteros is nothing or ippon. That can happen. Was there sufficient enough control? Was there a counter? All the various reasons why they may be considering the difference between score or no score. That's really how they refer to it. And
well, it's any kind of roll, isn't it? Then it's Awazari has to land, I think, with impetus or with power.
And they decided that Armenteros was able to have some control over Darwish. And he picks up an ippon. Darwish finishes 7th. Armenteros goes in to the bronze medal match. That was all taking place down on mat number 2. Meanwhile here, 20 odd seconds left to go. Patrick, 2 Shidos against him. Gazimov looks to be safe here.
Yeah, holding off, isn't he? And 12 seconds left. It's all about tactics. Got to say, this Azerbaijan team having a good run of it.
He's going to take a penalty there. He's not going to mind.
Patrick comes forwards. Last attack. 3 seconds left. Another medal for Azerbaijan.
Gazimov cementing his number 1 status, isn't he? To be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was head and head, wasn't it? Him and Saidov at, for the place. Saidov, I think, just went off the boil, and this man here, Gazimov.
It was odd because
said, well, cemented his place.
He was just in the shot there as well. They showed him in the stands, and he's just walking past us now. You know, give him a bit of a wave, and yeah, this is me. You're just letting everybody know.
I was going to say, I'm not quite sure who he's talking to.
Yeah. Maybe he felt that his place was under threat, and this just proves it. You know, if there was anything to be settled, he believes he's just settled that.
Well, the Kapalik Mare match is on mat 2.
Let's do that. Let's go over to mat number 2. And we'll take a look at the contest between Lukas Kapalik of the Czech Republic. He faces Cyril Marais of France. It's Kapalik in the white judogi, Marais in blue, and Kapalik again with a penalty on the board and having to do a bit of work. I remember he was in a similar position earlier on, but managed to come through. Let's see what happens here. 3:20 odd left to go, and here's Neil again.
Well, twice a winner at the Paris tournament, Marais, but doesn't seem to get the big results outside of Paris. But here he is in the semi-final. He's just ahead. Still got 3 minutes to hold on to it, though. Kapalik, former world champion, and not quite have reached those great heights, has he? We haven't seen him, and we're known for his newaza as well. He likes his newaza. Is he going to come up onto that arm? I think he might. Just tip him off, come up for the arm. And he might just have a little attack here on the ground, trying to get the leg out, Kapalik. A little bit slow onto that arm. So still Newaza, still Kapalik. Murray just holding off.
Yeah, he just trapped the leg there, and Kapalik having difficulty extracting his own leg from that of the wrapped up Murray. So the referee called Mate and stood the man. There's a little over 2 minutes left to go in this semi-final. Meanwhile, a semi-final in the plus 78 kilo category has just started down on mat number 1. If you want to watch that one, Idalis Ortiz faces Nihal Chikru of Tunisia. We're okay here on mat 2 though. We'll stick around here. Feels a little bit flat now when you look at the plus 100 kilo category. There's so much expectation of Harazawa Hisayoshi putting on a show here today, sending out the biggest possible message that he is the most serious challenger to Teddy Riner. I mean, that situation may not have changed, although our thinking of it has after this performance, because he got absolutely spanked by Daniel Natia, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, beaten easily and with two techniques, two beautiful techniques. Well, Kapalik as well, it looks flat to me, just hasn't got that extra gear. Murray just attacking when he feels in danger. Kapalik can't really do anything about it, and I think what made Kapalik special when he won the world title was his quick transition into Newaza, and that made the difference. Just a little bit off the pace here.
Murray would like to be up on his feet here, but
well, yeah, he certainly doesn't want to be on his back with Kapalik, does he? That's
no, quite. Single Shido against the Czech fighter, Lucas Kapalik. I think he risked it with 40 odd seconds to go last time round, didn't he? And he came out winner, Lucas Kapalik. Is he going to do that again?
Well, I don't think so. He doesn't look to me as if he's got it. He's not got it in the tank. 36 seconds to go. Murray has to just hold off. Can't afford a penalty, otherwise it'll go to golden score. I don't think either one of them want that. So can he do a proper attack? Either one of them. Murray didn't really have control with the hands there. 21 seconds left now.
Oh, that was a nice effort.
Well, I think that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's a big Tanio Toshi attempt there, and it didn't quite work. Kapalik comes forwards, drops Cianagi now. Ooh, he's very, very close. Almost there. Murray just holds off. He goes through to the final.
He threw the leg around the back, and that looked really good. He got himself in a good position, but there was nothing to bring Murray down at the top.
That's why it's so important with the hands.
Idalis Ortiz of Cuba has won her contest down on mat number 1. She takes her place in the final. Lucas Kapalik misses out here. It's Cyril Marais who'll be in that final for the French. We're going to go down to mat number 1 to take a look at the repechage contest in the plus 100 kilo category. We just finished off seeing Ortiz take the bow. We may get some highlights from this one. So it'll be a couple of seconds before we get underway with the Harazawa Hisayoshi Aslan Kambiev contest. But I think this is another nice matchup because there's another question here. We wanted to know what was going to happen with Harazawa in the event. Well, we know that he's not going to win it. Okay, that's one thing. So there's a question mark there. The next one is, has he got, how deep is he prepared to dig? Has he got enough to come back and still end up on the podium? He's got to get past Aslan Kambiev first. It's Harazawa in the white judogi, Kambiev in blue. It's a repechage contest. Here's Neil.
I tell you what it does for me, it kind of exposed him this. The ones with range, he can't operate his Uchimata, and he's got no switch to the other side. He's got nothing across the other flank. So I think that for me, Renier will come out, he'll pin his sleeve, and he'll dominate the top half. Harasawa won't have a chance for the Uchimata, no chance at all. That's just my prediction for the Olympic Games. I know that he'll be a little bit cagey, he's going to be Renier, but I don't think this is quite working out how Yoshihiro Yamashita probably thought it could. An outside chance anyway. I mean, certainly if he loses this match, then there's going to be trouble, isn't there?
Up until that defeat to Daniel Natia, we could all have, speculated and had all sorts of daydreams of what might be, and he got found out.
Yeah, he did get found out, and I think that, Renier will be watching it live. He was just so pleased, really.
Salut, Teddy. I mean, he's somewhere with his feet up having a laugh, isn't he?
I'm just thinking, well, I know what I'm going to do. I mean, that right hand there of Harasawa is just going to get pinned. He won't get it high on the lapel. He just won't.
Yeah, his gripping skills, his physical presence as well, Teddy Riner, is overpowering for most. And I can't see. Oh, that's the first time that he showed us something different.
Yeah, change of direction, and is it going to be a score? He sat him down on his backside, so probably no score. But a lovely Ko Soto. He needs to get that going all the time. He landed on his elbow there, Kambiev.
Yeah. So no score.
That's going to be a score for sure. Wazari scored.
And the Osai Komi party done. And he's tapped out as well. I do like to see a little bit of fight.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, he's going to be fighting for third place now. He needs this at least, doesn't he?
And Kambiev for me there. I mean, there was the one little, feint that he gave him.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
And after that, he just crumbled.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the size of the guy. And then the next attack, he was overdone. He'd hardly secured the Kazakhstan, and it was,
Let me up.
Yeah, I'm off. Something, Oh well. Harasawa it is, who be in the bronze medal contest. But we're going to stay here to watch Daniel Natia, who conquered Harasawa earlier on. I think that's the best way of putting it. He conquered him.
Yeah, well, he deserves our attention, I can tell you, in this semi-final.
He'll face Ushangi Kokauri of Azerbaijan. It's Natia in the white judogi, Kokauri in blue. I'm just going to look up and see what's happening down on mat 2. Ma Sisi of China faces Yamabe Kanae of Japan in their semi-final. There's no score with half a minute gone. That is actually an interesting contest simply because of the balance. We've already seen Ortiz make her way into the final. She's going to face the winner of that second semi-final, Ma and Yamabe. And it's absolutely now guaranteed that the winner of the Masters will be from the old firm. If we call the old firm Cuba, China, Japan, the winner of the Masters is going to be from the old firm.
In the heavyweight,
plus 78 kilo category, yeah. Only 3 countries have ever won the plus 78 kilo category for women. It's either a Cuban, Chinese, or a Japanese. And there's going to be no difference here today. It'll be one of those. And it now reminds me of the situation with Qin Qian and Tong Wen, when they were throwing Qin Qian out there quite often, and it was between the two of them, and all of a sudden they removed her, and it was Tong Wen who went. They've done the same thing with Ma Sisi and Yu Song. They're throwing her out there, and all of a sudden it'll be Yu Song to go.
Well, I think it will be, no matter what the result here. This one, well, I don't know why we haven't seen Natia doing the same kind of attacking, because he's proved that he can throw people.
I know, I've got the answer for you. He's a heavyweight.
Well, he just needs to caution to the wind. Just go in there. Exactly the same situation here. Kokori. Well, that's going to be a third penalty up for Kokori.
Yeah, they take one each. Heavyweights have a thought process all of their own. They can explode, as we saw with Daniel Natia in his quarter-final, and come up with some, I'm not going to say breathtaking, but really powerful and attractive techniques. And then they can just plod around for 5 minutes.
Well, that's the thing. It's the lack of urgency sometimes. They've got to attack within a given amount of time. This is what the referee has to do, ensure. I mean, here we go. Kokori, they've still got 3 minutes of this contest still to go. There's some taps there at the leg. There's no real score. That's going to be a score now. Wazari scored for Natia. That's exactly what he did there in his semi-final. In his quarter-final, sorry. And now he's a Wazari ahead. See,
Neil was talking about urgency. I didn't see any urgency with the realization that there was an opportunity there for the Tatishi Ogatami. It was Kokori who was showing some sign of attempting the turnover. And for a moment, Natia looked in danger of getting turned over and then held, having scored. But neither of those things materialized. Little over 2 minutes left to go. Daniel Natia leads by Wazari in this semi-final. First of the semi-finals in the plus 100 kilo category. We're going to see the second semi-final, that be between Orsason of Israel and Borbana of Hungary.
Well, no real big attacks from either one of them. Now there is, and that's going to be it, all over.
Yeah.
So Ippon given, and Natia goes through.
Natia getting ready for his next role as Tarzan.
I was just thinking the same.
The only thing that he didn't do was beat his chest.
Good performance from him,
another Daniel walks out. Daniel Lascaux just walked past us. Masasur, 1 out over Yamabe Kanae. That's bad news for the Japanese. The Japanese #1 pick losing to the #2 Chinese. Mind you, there can be completely different styles. Right, well, we're going to move over to mat #2 because we've finished all of our judo down on mat #1. We're going to see the contest between Roy Meyer of the Netherlands. He faces Faisal Jabala of Tunisia. I'm not at all sure what Jabala's doing.
No, well, I can't see Meyer.
They went to the wrong ends. They went to the wrong mat.
There we go.
They went down.
Meyer's out now.
They went down to the wrong mat. Roy Meyer went down to the wrong mat, so Faisal Jabala just followed him. And they both ended up in completely wrong places. Anyway, we're
the last 2 contests in this first session.
We had some rather clever predictions this morning, and one of them was that Ushangi Kokauri of Azerbaijan would take the gold medal. Well, luckily you didn't put any money on that then.
Where did that come from?
Oh, I can't say. It'd be embarrassing for the individual who put forward that idea. I love it when they get it wrong.
When a plan comes together.
I love it when a plan comes together. Mind you, there have been a number of occasions when I'll absolutely put my hands up and admit it, I've got it completely wrong. I'm glad that someone else can join me in that wrong seat.
Well, Roy Meyer really has to get on his bike here. He has to stay moving. If he stands still with Jabala will just wait for the right moment. One big Harai Makikomi and it'll be all over. Arm over the top now, Jabala. Sumagaeshi. Maya just stops it. Now it's up to Maya, though. He's going to have to attack now.
This is a repechage contest in the plus 100 kilo category. And the talking point today has been Harazawa Hisayoshi's unbeaten record going out the window. Well, unbeaten for the last 2 years anyway. And gets spanked by Daniel Natia. And the Romanian now, you know, with some thoughts, I suppose, of how he's going to deal with Riner in Rio, because that's the next thought process, I suppose.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've seen two fighters now, haven't we? Matthiasvili and Orsasson that have given a fight. You know, they've come out to Teddy Riner, and at least they're moving round and they're going underneath him. They're trying to throw him, and not totally and absolutely intimidated. So that's a good thing to see.
I think...
Massive
yeah.
Oh, Hizaguruma there from Maya, and Jabala right the way over the top there. That was massive. I'm not sure if it was Hizaguruma or Sasai, but we'll have a look at it again in a second.
Yuko the lead. A little over 2.5 minutes left to go. Maya just got to make sure that he leaves enough in the tank here. The suspicion around is that he's not, you know, the full 5 minutes. A little bit movement from Jabala.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a nice change of direction, Jabala. He can throw, but like you said, you know, it's whether they can attack within the given amount of time. One Shido on at the moment. He's looking for the big one, Jabala. Maya, though, has to hold on now for just over 2 minutes.
And whilst we are running down the heavyweight, or the plus 100 kilo category, I'll just let you know what we've got in store for you as far as the medal matches are concerned, and then we can whiz out reasonably quickly. Now, I think our chief likes us to do that to camera, so I better hang on for that.
The left against right, Roy Mayer left, but he does the Cianagi both left and right, but Jabala looking more predominantly just for the right-handed technique. Big arm over the back, looking for the Surigoshi. 1 minute 38 left. Second penalty up there to Roy Mayer. One more penalty on the board will put him under pressure. Chigari. Nice change of direction. Yeah, no hands. Absolutely.
He gets the leg in there. Jabala starts moving, and then the finish is to control the top half of the body, which unfortunately, as Neil just said, no hand control. And that's why that one failed to register a score. 2 penalties picked up by Maya. I think he's safe as far as that's concerned. Jabala hasn't put him under that amount of pressure that, you know, his tank is empty, and I think he's going to be safe as far as the penalties are concerned. And he's got the positive score on the board. The Yuko is the lead. It's really up to Jabala to make something happen here.
Yeah, he's looking for the right Cianagi, Roy Mayer, but he'll need the space in order to do it. Just trying to set it up for the drop down Cianagi. He gets the third penalty now, 38 seconds, one more drop, and he could lose it on Hon Sokomaki. Good attempt there from Jabala. Roy Mayer, if he attacks, it has to be a good one. Chigari was good, but he didn't have the left hand on. Trying to waste valuable seconds. 14 seconds left. Well, thank goodness for Roy Mayer. Jabala is probably more exhausted than he is. Four seconds left, just needs to stand his ground. So Roy Mayer it is that will be fighting for third place in the evening session. Showing consistency though in the category.
Yeah, he's always there, isn't he?
Yeah, always there roundabout.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy that tumbles at the very first hurdle. He's always in with a chance at a bronze medal and sniffing around a podium, and he's a difficult man to keep down, and to lose twice is tricky. Okay, and the other thing, he's protected by the draw now, because he came in here today. Harazawa was the number 1 seed. The number 2 seed was Roy Mayer. So he had some protection, given that he wasn't going to fight any of the top seeds early on. Mind you, Sasson, who was seeded, he was one of the top 8, came in and unseated him. And speaking of Sasson, here he is now. Or Sasson of Israel faces Borbana of Hungary. It'll be Sasson in the white judogi, Bor in blue, and here's Neil.
Last time they met, these two, Sasson just disappeared right the way underneath him. I'm sure he'll be thinking about that. Talking about Borbana, of course. The more we see him, Sasson looks more and more confident in the weight, really established himself now in the heavyweight division. So if he can't catch the sleeve, he will go left for the Seoinage. Bor knows that. So both get a Shido for patting off. Using that right lapel grip there to set it up for the Seoinage. There it was, standing as well. Well, Bor has got to do something. He's going to have to stick a proper attack in.
I saw you chatting with David McFall earlier about some articles that you'd written. Did you have a chat about that already?
Yeah, we did do. Well, we just covered it. We said that we would just mention it again, the Judoka magazine, the Judoka Quarterly.
Ooh, Sasson again, sorry.
Yeah, dropped Seoinage there from Sasson, this time right the way underneath, but just a Yuko scored.
Well, have you written one for every issue then?
Every issue.
They're keeping you
we've
busy.
Got, yeah, it has been keeping me busy. Some extra articles. The latest one about the Brazil chances at the Olympic Games. And, of course, it's got Kayla Harrison on the front of the magazine. And
very timely.
Yes,
very timely.
Absolutely. The defending Olympic champion.
Have we managed to get her to sign a copy yet, and then we can do something with that, charity-wise or some kind of prize?
It'd be nice, wouldn't it? I mean, we have Stephanie, don't we, at the moment, that is in dire straits. Wouldn't it be nice if we could raise a little bit of money?
What a good idea.
For Stephanie.
Absolutely. Okay, let's do that. We're going to get Kayla Harrison of the United States of America, the current Olympic champion, and she's in the final here today. We'll get her to put a signature on the Judo Quarterly magazine, and then we'll see if we can use that somehow to raise some funds and to support Stephanie Inglis, who was in a serious road traffic accident in Thailand, I think it was.
Yes, and she's still there now. The medical bills are obviously mounting up. So we need every bit of cash. The family need every bit of cash that they can get. So we're doing everything we can. Everybody's absolutely chipping in, and it's amazing. The judo family, a great support to Stephanie. So we'll auction it off, and I think that's the best way of going about it. All the money will go towards Stephanie, and the job of bringing Stephanie back home.
Okay, I'll see if I can get not only the signature from Kayla Harrison, but organise where we will do that auction. I may speak to Tot Laszlo, the General Treasurer of the European Judo Union, and see if we can do something in Budapest, because they're bound to have a big dinner there, and there are always some high rollers around there, and you're likely to get some reasonable income from
Excellent.
that. That'd be a good one. Sasson still leads by a Yuko with a minute 20 odd left to go. This is a good matchup for the Israeli here. He's not having to face someone of the man-mountain size of Natia or Rafael Silva. This is much more, within his target group. And Bohr has picked up 3 penalties, a measure of the difficulty that he's having in
and
facing
the
Sasson.
amount of technique and the amount of attacks that he's put in as well. The drop Seoinage prevalent. He's like I say, he can go right and left as well, but he's been forced left the whole of this match. A very poor technique there from Bohr. There was a massive. There was no rotation there. Be very lucky if he doesn't get Honso Kamaki. Referee going to let this carry on. One more of those and it'll be all over. It's into the last minute of the contest.
Sasson's shown some nice movement here as well. He just, I suppose only Rinner has got that kind of footwork, that dancing around kind of, on your toes thing. It's so plodding sometimes from the big guys. It's nice to see one who just, he stands still for a second and then he moves.
Yeah, it is the Muhammad Ali stuff. I mean, you have a look at what the success that he had was when he had quick feet, and he had quick feet, quick hands, both of them working together. And it works the same in judo as well. If you've got quick feet, quick hands, they work together, then you're first one in and you score.
I got it wrong, by the way. Stephanie Inglis is in Vietnam. I got it wrong. I thought it was out in Thailand. But thanks very much for that. We have some, very clever people out there who know a bit more about it than we do. So, but I promise I'll get it signed and we'll see what
we're going to get it signed.
Yeah.
We will get it auctioned, and every bit into the pot helps the family.
A last-ditch Sumigaeshi effort by Borbana results in a block by Sasson, and it'll be the Israeli who takes his place in the final. The ball will have to go down into the bronze medal match, and I can fill in the sheet here that David McFall has been very, very handy to put together. Sasson in there and Bohr down in the lower half. Okay, let's have a bit of a wrap-up now, and in each of the weight categories. Perhaps Neil will tell us what his thoughts have been. I'll just run down the medal matches. Will be Michal Skankov, Slovenia, to face Cyril Gross. No, beg your pardon. Right, I'm going to have to... It must be Clerget, Axel Clerget. I'm going to have to talk to David McFall about his handwriting there. Marcus Neiman and Ilias Iliadis. That's the second of the bronze medal matches. And then the final, Baker Massieu and Hussein Kalamurzaev.
It's going to be a great one. Kalamurzaev on great form. Baker, for me, is the pressure man.
Okay, let's just talk about the finals, then that'd be better. Elmar Gazimov of Azerbaijan, the happy man, up against Cyril Marais of France.
Yeah, I think Gazimov probably, and the reason for that is that Marais, he performs it. I mean, this is the best performance outside of Paris for sure, but I think Gazimov will just have the edge.
Okay, and then in the plus 100 kilo category, we've just seen Sasson taking his place in the final. He's going to face Daniel Natia of Romania. Whereabouts?
I'm going to go for Sasson. I think Sasson, if he keeps moving and he gets the drops right, the only thing against that is the absolute weight difference with Natia. But credit to him because he's on great form today.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the stumbling block, isn't it? You
Yes.
know, whether he can cope with that
Extra weight.
with the extra weight. In the under 78 kilo category, I think this is going to be the fight of the tournament. Kayla Harrison of the United States of America, the current Olympic champion, will face Mayra Aguiar of Brazil. What do you?
Well, 17 times, 18 times, they fought each other. It could go either way. I'm not going to sit on the wall. I'm going to go for Harrison. And the reason I'm going to go for Harrison, she looked so determined in that semi-final. Aguiar just looked to me as if she's just a little bit off, technique a little bit off. And also the Brazilian team looked just that tiny bit off.
Right. And then finally, the plus 78 kilo category. Idalis Ortiz of Cuba, another current Olympic champion who's made her way to the final. She'll face the Chinese number 2, the world number 3, Ma Se.
Ma makes mistakes. I think Ortiz is the Olympic champion, and I'm going to go for Ortiz.
Right. Join us again when we bring you all the medal matches at 5 o'clock. But from Neil Adams and myself, it's bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.